All right, y'all. Zombie apocalypse. Who in the pod is surviving? I'm going to go ahead and say kill me and sacrifice me.
I was about to say, it's definitely not you because you're going to walk into a zombie and be like, I'm good.
I'm done. So I'll be the sacrificial lamb. You can throw me to the wolves.
She's going to run a trip and then we...
Okay.
Then
I'm going to say you can sacrifice me and I'll be the getaway, the distraction or whatever. I don't want to survive.
I always said that if a zombie apocalypse came about, I wouldn't want to survive either, but I think I could.
I feel like they're going to be like, oh, she's a girl with the mac and cheese. Let her live. And so like, as long as you like fry up our homies real good, real quick, like once a month, we'll let you live.
Our homies, not her being a zombie while trying to stay away from the zombies.
No, I think to let her live as a person, but be like the chef.
The zombies will let her live.
The zombie chef?
Yeah. No, human zombie chef.
I understand. Yeah. So she's going to be cooking up people for the zombie.
Right.
Because you make
what is this, chopped? Are you going to give me a basket of random ingredients?
An arm, an elbow.
I think so. I think that's how you survive.
Okay. Well, maybe Saya and I try to figure out how to live.
Right.
I feel like
live.
I feel like there's always a chance until when I was watching Walking Dead, when someone had a baby, I was like, oh no, all of you are dead. Like there's no chance. I don't know. Where are you getting formula? I'm confused. The mom is dead. Yeah. How are you guys thinking that this baby and you are going to survive?
How did they have formula in the beginning of time before there was formula?
They made it.
Milk.
No. Yeah. No.
But the mom died.
But women usually would if they hear crying baby, apparently you begin to lactate.
I don't know that just happens if you don't have
a baby.
You don't. Also,
I've heard plenty of baby cry. I've never lactated.
But I've also heard that it could happen. It's not impossible, I think is what we're saying.
The only women that were there was like an old lady and largely men.
Hers is definitely
from the sound alone, the zombies are gonna find you every 3 hours.
I feel like Saya's already in heaven. Like the Lord was like, you come. I'm not leaving you down there with them.
Yeah, that's fair because the rapture probably happened and then that's why the zombies.
Yeah. I feel like Saya's in heaven already. So it's you. Okay. You're gonna be you and Nicole are a representative.
Okay, I'm probably alive, but only because Patrick actually cares about me
and your dad.
Yeah. They're going to be the true reasons that we survive. Also, my mom has like, a whole like storage layer
of everything.
If she grabs her purse, we're cool.
Yeah. Listen,
my mom has a bunker.
She low-key does. So I feel like that's where I'm always like, listen, as long as I can get home, we got a fighting chance between my Uncle Gene, my mom, my dad.
Yeah.
Like we might be okay.
I agree. Wow. What a time. Racine, are your kids going? Your husband or?
My husband's definitely leaving us and surviving.
Yeah, come on. She's not leaving.
I'm not on your own.
He'll take my daughter with him probably and be like, come on, I got to keep up.
High knees, don't fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Not leaving you for the wolves.
I would want to survive. I think I'd find somewhere to hide and just chill out for a little bit. I wouldn't want to be with the group because the group always gets messy. They're going to start fighting. Everybody's going to be hungry. They're going to want to go on these missions, like these Captain Save-A-Ho things of, no, my mom's back there. Or
So, and one person's going to get bit and not want to tell anybody.
Always one.
Always.
So you can't be in a group.
Just take the L. I'm like, just take it. You know what? It's COVID. Somebody gets sick. Don't tell nobody and go out here in these streets.
Y'all are going to fight over
toilet
paper? We don't have a shot.
Yeah, that's why I want to die. Right. I've already seen what y'all do.
We don't have a chance. We don't stand.
I'd rather be a zombie. That's terrible.
All right, y'all. Should we get started?
Yep. Yeah. Let's go.
Hey, I'm Ty.
I'm Carol.
It's Tiffany.
I'm Nicole. And this is what keeps us together.
Basically, the group chat in your head.
Living rent free.
Bow, bow, bow. Welcome back.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
That's right.
And this week's episode is not sponsored by, but it should be via Ray, Issa Rae's new Prosecco. If you didn't know, this podcast is a Issa Rae Stan account. We're also a Prosecco Stan account.
Yep.
Podcast. So, Issa, we're really excited to try this for the very first time today on the pod. So, everyone has their glasses, right?
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you, Saya.
Oh, this is good. This is really good. I like it. And if you are a La Marca or a Fino fan, it's about the same price point, about $20. Just found out it's at liquor stores and Target. So, if your Target's out, try your liquor store. Just look at mine. It's in stock, allegedly.
It's not too sweet.
Yeah, it's very light. It's not sweet at all because I like dry Prosecco.
But me too. It also, I like a good balance. And for someone who doesn't, like, I'm not out here buying Prosecco like y'all do. I would go buy this.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
All right, shout out to Issa. Got your winner, girl.
You did good, girl.
You did good.
Also, I'm gonna make a little the Issa.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? What's the Issa?
Hit me, sis.
So it's from Insecure, and she makes it, and it's like liquor with Prosecco.
It's a
She
splash.
does it with vodka, but I'm gonna do it with Makers because that's my forte.
Okay.
Come on, Forte.
Yeah. If you've seen any of our other podcasts, if our Prosecco looks darker, it's because there's whiskey in it.
Thank you.
If you needed to know.
Yeah.
But you don't. Mind your business.
Let me know. Does that taste better?
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
see.
I already know it does.
I mean, it's got alcohol.
I already know it does.
Yes. Cheers.
Yeah.
It's good. I won't say it's better, but it's delightful.
So it's
It
nice.
is.
It's nice by itself.
It's good both ways for
That's
sure.
a good fall drink for sure.
Hey.
Oh, good
It
call.
can't
Yeah.
really make
Could you
it
imagine you
worse,
put a little
right?
cranberry in there?
Oh,
I can't imagine.
Next
time.
Or a little pomegranate.
if you just imagine.
All right. So we also have a special guest this week.
Yes.
Let me get your bio out.
That's me.
Okay. So for today's topic, we thought that it would be pertinent to have a therapist on call because, you know, we get slanderous and we were trying not to do that.
Yeah.
Are we?
I'll speak
Yeah,
for
don't
myself.
show
I
off
guess.
for me, is what you normally do.
Trying to be balanced. Okay, so my friend Racine is a therapist and her bio reads, Racine R. Henry, PhD, LMFT, has been practicing psychotherapy since 2008, currently holds a license in marriage and family therapy in New York. Dr. Henry holds a dual Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology and sociology, social psychology from Lehigh University, a Master of Science in Marriage and Family Therapy from Valdosta State University, and a PhD in couple and family therapy from Drexel University. Dr. Henry, Dr. Henry, I like the way that sounds, has done academic presentations at national and international conferences of several professional organizations, along with publications in peer-reviewed journals, textbooks, and popular media literature. In addition to extensive work with couples, Racine is experienced in group therapy, family therapy, anger management training, and treating various mental health diagnoses, including depression, infidelity, post-traumatic stress disorder, and adjustment issues. Dr. Henry is a clinical fellow and approved supervisor with the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy, as well as a core faculty member of the Family Institute at Northwestern University. Additionally, Dr. Henry is the founder of Sankofa Marriage and, am I saying that right?
Is that right?
Okay. Of Sankofa Marriage and Family Therapy, PLLC, and the creator of A Palette for Love series, trademark. I know that's right.
Yes. Congratulations. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Love to hear about all the
Thank you so much
credentials.
for having me.
Yeah,
Also married with child.
Yes, with an 8-year-old daughter.
Oh, 8.
And I have to tell the story of like how we met.
Yes.
So we went
tell
to
the story.
Okay, so
I was gonna tell a story of when you guys came over and Silver wouldn't talk to you.
that was a fun day still. I mean,
tell
sorry,
a story
Silver.
second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went on a travel noir trip to Zanzibar in 2017. And of course met a whole bunch of dope ass Black people. And some of us still keep in touch, but Racine and I have we talk at least every couple of months.
Yeah.
Once a month. Which, is remarkable. I've got friends that I live next door to that I don't talk that frequently.
And we see each other pretty often too. I see you at least once a year.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Which, it helps having family in New York. So thanks, Patrick, for helping keep this friendship alive. But yeah, it was a really great trip, and we really clicked and bonded while we were there, and it just continued to flourish when we got back. And so yeah, my friend, the doctor.
Yeah.
Come on, doctor.
Yes, love this for y'all.
Call the doctor.
Okay.
My daughter is such a weirdo that when Patrick and Tiffany came to visit us last, I was like, my friends are coming to drive here. They're driving here 5 hours away to come and see us. She gets all dressed up, and her dressed up version is wearing a tuxedo and a bow tie.
Love this.
All dressed up. She's sitting in the living room waiting for them. The minute they came, she ran upstairs and would not come down for the next, 10 hours that they were there?
We were there for so long, and she was like, I think the closest she got was the family room.
Yeah, she got to the next room.
She was like, can you bring me dinner, please?
Not can you bring me dinner?
Wouldn't come into the kitchen.
Can you come and say hello? She's like, no. But she was all dressed up already.
I love this.
It was very endearing. I felt loved on anyways. I don't know if that's the appropriate sensation.
From afar.
She said, I'm going to put this whole fit on for
Right.
y'all.
I just want
We
to
got company.
Yes, I want to look good. I just want to talk to y'all.
And you also can't see me in my outfit,
Right.
but
I
it's
respect
there.
All right. So this week we're gonna do our song of the week. We're gonna have them based on either your honeymoon phase songs, the songs that make you feel love and want to be around that person all the time.
It's such a nice change of pace for us.
It is.
It is.
All right. So who wants to go first?
I want to hear Nicole's song because she's been talking about it a little bit.
Okay. I have multitudes of songs because I only listen to really R&B for real. But I would say two that I can think of off the top of my head right now would be Gerald Levert, R.I.P.
This is only funny because I just found out he's dead.
Yes.
Sorry.
A month ago.
Yeah. When I tell you I was
dead for a long time.
Listen, when I tell you I was devastated,
Maybe even like 20 years. Like,
all right. We don't.
Anyway,
not too much. Not too much on me.
But
not too much.
Made to Love You.
Oh, that is such a good one.
That is a good one.
R.I.P. to him.
And then my top favorite is Anything for You by Let Us See.
I expected Let Us See from me.
I keep that song on replay.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I can go next. My the first song that comes to mind when I think about like what love is to me in like honeymoon phase is He Loves Me by Jill Scott.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one just like always takes me to that place. Yeah. And then I think also the classic like Here and Now, Luther Vandross.
Come on, Here and Now.
That is really good.
That was my wedding song.
Oh, I love Here and Now.
I love Luther. I love Luther Vandross.
Racine, you want to go next?
Yeah.
Oh, so mine I think is a classic. It's Fantasia, When I See You.
Oh,
that's
a good one.
All the feels. That one, and then Jhené Aiko, While We're Young.
Oh, I almost chose that one.
That's a good one.
I was trying to not be like ironic compared to like the last two episodes where I was like, she doesn't have any wedding songs, and then
look at you.
It was one of my songs I let the flower girls go down the aisle to.
Yeah,
that's what I think we cut the cake to that song.
Okay.
That's a good one. I have a couple too. So my very favorite one is I Choose You by Kiana Lede. The acoustic version specifically is my favorite. And then I also love Love Ballad by LTD. Good one. I really love that song too. I don't want to sing it.
Okay,
I'll play it for you.
No, just tell me the words.
Oh
yeah. I love that. Okay. Yeah, I love that song.
Ooh. Oh, so then that you know what you just added one for me. No,
honorable mentions.
What's oh god, why can't I think of it? All right, so I'll start with my first one. My first one is gonna be Love by Music Souls.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I almost chose that one too.
Yes, absolutely love that one.
On that high note.
What's the one where the guy is crying? I can't think of his name. Old school.
Crying.
Lenny Williams.
Lenny Williams. That's it. Lenny Williams.
I love you.
I love you. Yes. Oh my god.
What the
yeah.
Yes.
That is a good
Kings of Comedy.
I love you.
That is really good.
You made me remember that. I was like, oh, that's my jam.
I like that one.
Sure.
I have two more honorable mentions. Dangerously in Love, Destiny's Child / Beyonce. Like that one's always a classic.
That is a good one.
And like really like the beginning of like when you really start liking someone, like So Into You, Tamia and Fabulous. I know it's not like a love song, but yeah.
The Tamia one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other Destiny's Child song?
Cater to You?
No. It was
T-shirt?
I want to say it was with Brown Eye. Is it Brown Eye?
It's a Brown Eyes.
Brown
I was
Eyes
thinking
Tells
Brown
It All.
Eyes.
Yeah,
That's
a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And Brown Skin by India Arie.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Yes.
I also love Change Your World by Anthony Hamilton.
Oh, that song.
Yeah.
I love
that song.
Yeah, I have a lot of R&B songs that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can do this for days.
We
Honestly,
could.
the whole pod.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I love
that
good ballads.
Y'all out here living a different life.
Yeah,
nowadays.
we're in our bag.
Yes,
I know.
right here.
Man, what a
It's fine,
time.
not for
Lovers, not
everybody's side. That's
fighters.
I
fine.
know. I really love being in love. It's such a good feeling.
It is.
Aww.
It is. It is.
It's not so precious.
Oh, snap. Oh, ting.
Poor little tick.
Anywho. All right. So, anybody want to get into our topic this week?
I can get into it since
Yeah.
I feel like I like spurred the reason.
Yeah,
for
you
it.
did.
So I don't know like why this like came to me, but after Patrick proposed, I like was having like all of these like thought processes about like how it's so interesting that like, you know, men choose, women like work to be chosen in heterosexual relationships, of course. And just like the dynamic that spurs in like dating scenarios and what it the role you play when that is the way and the standard of what it means to date. So just like the mentalities around having the options of choosing versus like wanting to be worthy enough to be chosen, and how that plays out in various like aspects of various relationships with various people, and in various phases of even the same relationship. So that's kind of the platform that created this episode content.
Yeah. So before we get too deep into it, we had to bring back our game. Racine, we love playing games when we have guests. So we're bringing back Toxic or Nah.
Okay.
This really upset the girlies.
Sign.
Perfect.
It's all like,
ooh,
yeah.
glittering.
I had to craft it. You know, I'm in my crafty mom era.
I love it.
I had to craft it.
The girlies and the zesty zaddies were really upset about this on Instagram when we played this game. So we had to bring it back.
Okay.
I love it.
So all of these questions are kind of like cultural questions that are coming up on Instagram, TikToks, and all those things surrounding dating. So they might sound familiar to you. So as a professional, we want your opinion on if this is toxic or not. And then, of course, as non-professionals, we're going to give our opinion as well.
As laywomen.
Yes. Okay. So first it is picking Cheesecake Factory, ice cream, or coffee as a first date location. Toxic or not? I'm going to go with not toxic.
Yeah.
I think it's not toxic.
Not toxic. Okay.
Okay. We're all in agreement.
Specifically, I'm going to say coffee. Outside of Cheesecake Factory, is coffee a toxic date location for the first date?
No.
No? Okay.
I agree.
All right. Being separated for 7 years, but refusing to get a divorce.
Y'all supposed to let her go first.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I think that's worse.
Can you
said
explain?
not toxic?
Yeah, because I think that it doesn't matter what you label it as, it's what you're doing in the relationship. So if you're living apart and that works for you, like people sometimes don't get divorced because of their kids, like changing last names or financial reasons for health insurance or like, you know, life insurance stuff. So if as long as you're able to operate like the way you want to, being separated, so I can date or be with other people, I don't want to get married again, and we agree on that, then that's not toxic. But if it's like a form of control, then obviously that's toxic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if there's like healthy parameters around the reasons.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
What a professional.
This game is going to be way less toxic with this.
I mean, you never know. Let's just see how it goes.
But what is the likelihood that that's happening though?
Jada and Will.
It happens a lot.
Okay, I don't think that's toxic, but that's a conversation.
I think
for
Jada and Will
day.
are very toxic, though. But
I
do.
Okay,
like leave us out of the group chat. I don't want to know your business anymore.
Listen,
thank you.
We said the same thing.
Telling me, I don't want to know.
I agree, but I also feel like that maybe we're not in the group chat, but I feel like us as spectators feel like we have an obligation to comment on what they got going on in their world. We don't.
Because they told us. But also, we can bring this back because you weren't here last time. So we want to hear your opinion on it.
No, I think it's true about all pop culture, right? Like if you put it out in the media, people are going to know it to comment on it. The commenting isn't the issue. And maybe it's not toxic for them. Maybe they understand it and they like it and they love it. And I love that for them. But I just feel like I get the media blitz of we have books coming out, so we want to promote it and give you tidbits of what's in the book. I don't got to buy the book anymore. Now I know what's in the book because you told me everything that's supposed to be in there. And why tell us this? Like, what do you want that to do for us?
Ooh, that's a good
Maybe
point.
they're trying to like deconstruct the whole perfect marriage plateau they've been on forever, which I think is fair because no one should idolize anybody else's relationship. But I just think that something about it just feels like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
which is what we talked about last week. But
yeah,
Nicole,
I just don't feel like I feel like we made an assumption that they had a perfect marriage. And what happens when you assume?
No, I think that they put out a narrative that they were in a happy marriage.
Well, but I always heard things, okay, we're swingers or we have an open relationship or this, that, and a third. First of all, I don't think any relationship is perfect. I think that
I agree.
People give you like when y'all go out in the streets, when you and Patrick go out in the streets, you are united front, right?
Oh yeah.
But nobody need to know what's going on when y'all go home. I do the same thing.
Right.
Even within my own family. If me and Harry are fighting, you're not gonna know it.
You know the difference? We know about Will and Jada because they tell us.
Yeah,
I understand that, but I just feel like people get on this soapbox. Like, it is their responsibility as a spectator.
I feel like we're going back to last week's pod, and we might have to go back.
I agree with you to the standpoint of like, I don't think that they touted that their marriage was perfect. I don't think that came from them. But I do think that they're the reason they're in the news. I don't think that the people commenting are the problem. I think that them deciding to share all their business is the problem.
I agree, but there's a reason for that. All publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Fair enough.
You pimping out your marriage is toxic.
So then I feel like if you're gonna use the publicity to promote your products, then you can't be mad at the comments because you're giving us things to comment on. And I don't think they care about our comments. I just feel like, what's the point of all this?
Yeah.
Like, I get you can publicize your book and talk about other things. Talk about being a mom or a woman or your alopecia journey or whatever else. Talk about your business if you want to. That's fine. I just don't get why. Like, for so long you were quiet and you didn't want people to be in your business and you didn't want the public to weigh in. And now it's like the floodgates are open, but it's like, why now in the 12th hour when nobody cares anymore, really? Like, you guys have been together forever. Together, not separated, whatever. Like, okay, great. Go and do it. Just don't tell us.
Yeah. And to be fair, apparently her book has a lot in it. They just chose to focus on.
She chose to tell about selling drugs. I mean, it could have been and all this stuff.
That's
like,
true.
It could have been one line.
But the media chooses what is going to go up too. Yeah. So like, there's that aspect.
All right, guys, I got 8 more questions.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
One thing we're going to do.
Wait. All right. Ordering 4 dozen oysters and an entree when you were just asked out for drinks. Not toxic.
If you can pay for it yourself, then order whatever you want to.
She was not expecting him to pay, though. I mean, she wasn't expecting to pay. She was expecting him to pay.
Well, what she said was she goes there all the time. And so she figured, since he wants to go out with me so bad, he can meet me at my spot. Mm-hmm. And because he wants to take me out, then he should pay. I think that's toxic to assume. But at least she paid for herself. She didn't because he walked out. Because he walked out. So my thing is, because she's prepared to pay for herself, then I think it's okay to do that.
Okay.
But and him leaving, I think, wasn't toxic either. I would have left her ass too. Like, girl, what are you doing?
I guess my question is, if when you go there by yourself, since it's your spot, are you ordering the same thing?
That part. That's what my question is.
Right. So I love oysters. So I understand the ordering the 4 dozen, especially when they're like $1 oyster each. I'll order 4 dozen.
And an entree?
But I mean, she was
homegirl was
having happy
hungry.
Hour. She was doing the lot. Yeah.
She was all day. She be doing that fasting.
Okay. All right. Admitting to having unprotected sex with your baby daddy that just proposed to his first baby mama.
Who are you admitting to?
The world.
The world.
The world. Krishan Rock. Submit to the world. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We're all in agreement here.
That's the definition of toxic.
They are.
The two of them.
I didn't realize that was her, but Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Exposing your past sexual partners in interviews when no one asked you about them.
Because why?
Don't care.
Yeah, toxic.
We don't care.
I agree.
It's funny though.
All right. Having 12 kids with 6 different women.
I mean, I guess it depends.
Future.
Well, this is Nick Cannon.
Oh, him too.
Yeah, so he's toxic.
Wait, is there a caveat?
What's the scenario where it's not?
Because let's say you just happen to date 6 women throughout your lifetime and you break up with them and you're taking care of your kids and you just have kids with all these people.
And you're going to do it
together. We break up.
5 more times?
I mean, hey, some people don't want to be together. Some people don't want to be married. They don't want to have that like one person. Some people don't believe in monogamy.
I support that.
People don't believe in forever.
Well, let me not say I support it. I understand it.
I think if you're being a good and present father, I don't know how you can with 12 people.
Well,
but if you're trying to be a good parent, then I think that's not toxic.
Okay, that's the part that that's toxic to me. For
yes,
like if it's
right.
How are you? Especially if they're all over the country.
Right. Yeah, how are you doing this?
Unless they neighbors.
Yeah. They're not.
He might have bought a compound.
I don't think he has.
That's another problem in itself.
Maybe he's working on it.
He could be. All right. Going 50-50 on bills with your partner.
All right.
Not toxic.
Damn, city girls down bad.
So bad.
Right?
All right, I know. All right. Ordering food to go for your kids on a date.
Say that again.
Ordering food to go for your kids on a date.
Who's paying?
Your date. You're expecting your date to pay.
Were they agreeing? Like, was there a precursor?
Oh, guys, sorry. You're leaving, and I'm like, hey, can I order food for my kids?
Too many caveats.
Oh, you asked?
That's the question.
Sure.
Oh.
I mean, if you ask, no. But if you didn't ask and you expect me to,
yeah.
Okay. No. Because I'm gonna need separate bills.
I'm just giggling because I do that all the time.
You don't have children.
I don't, but I'm like, my mama's at home, so I got to take food home.
That's different. You're paying
but
for
that's
it.
different.
Also, you're dating your man that you've been.
I mean, I just think it, like
different.
the scenario is just funny to me, but we can proceed.
If it's like a date of like we're just trying to get to know each other, it's
first date.
First date.
And I'm like, oh, by the way, can you order 2 chicken nugget meals to go for my kids? That's crazy.
Okay.
Also, imagine your child like surf and turf.
My nieces did.
My kid wants the sushi, right?
Yeah.
My kid wants the sushi.
My sister, as a small child, was ordering the Admiral's Feast from Red Lobster, and you know that was like the big.
Not the Admiral's Feast.
I don't even know what that is.
Sounds like out of my budget.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 2 more.
That was me.
Paying for a date and then next day texting your date and asking to be reimbursed for half.
First of all, it's laughable. I'm not talking to you ever again.
Yeah, I'm definitely blocking you immediately.
Why did
I'm
you do
leaving
it?
you on red.
You guys didn't see this? So the guy, they went out to, I guess, for drinks and for the first date. He spent more than, I guess he ran up the bill on drinks and she offered to pay for her food, but he said, no, it's fine. I got it. And so the next day he texted her and was like, hey, I spent a little bit more than I thought and I'm supposed to go out today. Do you mind still paying for half?
No, you should have done that on the day.
She was just
you missed it. I did the fake.
Just what she said. She was like, this offer is expired.
Okay.
Not his account hit negative, and he was concerned.
Okay.
Also, you don't know how to do math. Like, if you running up the tab, you better have enough to cover it.
And that's what she was like. She was like, I spent, my portion was like $25. His portion was going to be way more. She was like, I wasn't going to pay for half. I was going to pay for what I
ordered.
But either way, she was like, I'm never talking to him again.
Yeah, I know. It's a dub for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one, we're getting a little spicy. Expecting head, but refusing to reciprocate.
Where they do that?
Mm-hmm.
What? Explain.
Please.
Turn this interview off.
So, you're uninvited now. You're uninvited. Well, again, it goes back to preferences, right? Some people are more givers than they are receivers. Some people like that arrangement of like, I don't want anything in return. I just want to do this for you.
Okay, DJ Khaled.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. I can imagine a scenario in which it's not. If it's like we agreed, and then you say no, then that's toxic and horrible.
Okay. So put up the other sign for balance.
For you to have entered the scenario and I'm doing, and then you just like, oh, all right, well, I'm going to head out. Like, then no. That's what I'm thinking when I hear that.
Also, I feel like the refusal is like, that's jarring to me. Because I feel like often the scenario in which I hear this happening is men refusing to do it to women. And it's like on the premise that it's something nasty about it. And that is very triggering. I think it's really. Well,
don't men say like, oh, if you don't get done first, you won't get done at all? So I think that's their mentality of like, they get done first. They can then say no. And
it makes me think of my Coley's Corner from a couple of pods ago, I think, where the lady was with the older guy and every time it would be like a few minutes. And then she was like, all right, like by the second or third time, she was like, look, can you at least
take care of me?
And he was like, you can leave. First of all, the way beyond toxic, like never talking to you ever again. What in the world?
Yeah.
And probably stealing something out of your house. Just leave him with something.
That should be another one. Waking up and finding out that the dude you messed with stole your shoes.
What? Why would they take your shoes?
Because he gave them to his girlfriend.
Probably. That is toxic. Oh, that's the one with the funny looking shoe.
Yeah, it's like a little toe in the middle.
Like cow foot shoe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Not took your shoes to give to your girlfriend. First of all, if you give me your shoes not in a box.
After you cheated on her.
And the shoes are ugly.
Like, you bring me some shoes that look like women's shoes, and where did you get these from?
Without a box?
No box, no
they're
nothing.
Worn and they're ugly.
They're worn.
I thrifted them.
Yes.
Although she wore them, she posted them on Instagram.
She sure did.
That's so embarrassing.
That makes me think of that couple, the guy that was doing the motivational speaking on social media.
Derek Jackson?
Yes. Derek Jackson. It was him that took them shoes.
Bond of salvation.
All right. Well, thank you for playing our game.
I think it goes back to like the topic though of like the pick me women, right?
Yeah.
And that
this is a good segue.
Category within the topic that Tiffany was talking about.
Yeah,
like women who want so bad to be chosen that they're willing to put up with anything, do anything, in hopes that like this will make them so agreeable to men.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's real.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is indeed a very good segue.
Yes. So, topic being women who society. Let's not even put it on women.
Right.
Society telling women that they should seek to be chosen by men versus doing the choosing.
Yeah, we have a cultural reference, right?
Yeah.
This is so aggressive.
It was.
I think men love more authentically than women.
Huh?
Oh, this is what I mean by that.
You said say it again.
I said I think men love more authentically than women. And this is why. I can agree. But go ahead. Women are in love with love.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And because of that, I think you guys are wired to stick anybody in that spot. You can make him fit. You guys are socialized from little girls to fall in love with the process, the pageantry of love, the courting phase and the dates and you know what I'm saying? He put his hand on my thigh and we walked down the aisle and all that stuff. On the flip side, when a man figures out or realizes that he's in love, that's not a happy experience. He's like, God damn it. Because that is a responsibility.
He's telling the truth.
Now, because again, our two jobs are provide and protect. I love her means that I'm willing to die for her. That's not part of your responsibility. Right. So we're not going to be as flippant or as generous with that love. Plus, we're not socialized to fall in love with the whole process and shit like that.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
How did you guys feel when you heard the clip initially? Or right now initially?
Well, when it first started, I was like, I think we were like, wow.
Yeah.
He
made good points.
He made good points, but I don't know if that makes it more authentic. I don't think that makes the love more authentic just because of how we've been conditioned.
I don't think authentic is the right word, but I understand like what he's getting at in his explanation.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Like to me,
Racing in your face.
Let's say, to me, sure, you can say that a lot of the things that we have been exposed to and even supported have been this thing of you need to look for love and then understand what that is. But I kind of disagree with it because I think everything that we've been told of what love isn't really what it is anyway. So I feel like we're all at the same starting point, right? Like men trying to figure out exactly what love is and what it feels like, and us kind of unlearning what everyone else has told us as love is. Like there's a bridging of the gap. I don't know that it's just, sure, we may in the beginning like try to plug people in, but then you realize you can't do that. Like it just doesn't work.
Racing, why'd your face look? Yeah.
Because I hate so many things about the whole statement. I hate like the other guy being like, I agree, but you tell your side. If you agree, then say what you agree with. But and I hate the women who being like, oh yeah, that's right, you made a good point. I feel like we need to stop centering men so much and stop centering what men think and want and how they want things to be. And I said this on Twitter recently, and of course, every man was like, "What's your husband think? Send it to your husband. Let me know what he thinks." Like he's sitting next to me, he knows how I feel.
But also, why are you centering men in this one conversation where I just said stop centering men?
Yeah, right. Like my husband must not feel the same way because I'd married someone who didn't agree with my views. No, but I think it's like we don't give men enough credit or accountability. They're not children.
Yeah.
Right. So this idea of like, oh, when I find my person I love, now I'm scared because I have to die for her. What are you talking about, dude? Like, who's dying right now? But my thing is, yes, there are women who and men too who fantasize about getting married, fantasize about like their future, their kids, their whatever. That's just human nature. Women may do it more because we're given dolls and we're giving imagery around it. But to think that we're just sitting here thinking, oh, whoever comes by and picks me up, I'm going to be with that person. No mature woman with all of her faculties operates off of that knowledge. Most women like. Yeah, because some of them have mental health issues. So it's like we have to give them like their grace and space too. But I feel like, yes, I want to be chosen, but I'm going to be selective about who I allow to choose me. I don't want anybody to choose me. I'm not going to put myself in front of anyone to be chosen by. And I can also say no to the choosing. So it's not like, just please come and sweep me off my feet so I can fulfill my fantasy of this house and this Barbie dream house life that I want. Some people think that way, yes. But to say like we're wired that way, that's triggering as hell for me. I'm not wired anyway because I'm a female.
Right.
I am wired to be me, and then I choose what I believe in and what I don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And men are not that like these infantilized beings that like can't take accountability, have to be given grace, wait for them to change. They're going to change one day. When they love you, they'll show it. I think all that gives them so much room and latitude to be as toxic as they can be. And then we excuse away by saying, oh, well, they're men, so you know how men are. No, I know how you allow men to be and how men are not going to be with me. And so it's like, they don't want us to be this dominating woman, but I feel like you have to be so strong on your values and like stand in your business so hard, just not be taken as a flighty person.
Ooh.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That was so many bars, so many bars. Right. I feel like the other side too, that like, I feel like the idea, we're also given the idea of like soulmates, right? And I feel like that confounds this entire notion that like, we just love. Like there's an element of like, sure, we romanticize aspects of love that we aspire toward, but that does not mean that we're just like willing and able to take it from any and everyone, that like we can like pick and play. Like once you meet a nigga, like, oh my God, you're gonna do this and this and this, because that's exactly what we come to find out. Like, and that's what creates the need for discernment, right? Is to realize that like, all you niggas are not built the same.
Yeah. Or assuming that everyone's meant to be married or in a relationship either. Like we've talked about this a lot too. How many people that we know in their 50s or 60s or 70s that have never been married, they're still single, but they're living great, happy, fulfilled lives. But as a woman, it's like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with her, or maybe she's not doing enough or whatever. But she could just be very happy, peaceful, and living a great life, just not wanting to deal with whatever comes with being in a monogamous relationship.
Right.
Yeah, we live in the patriarchy that says if you don't have a man next to you, then you're not worth anything. You don't have a value.
Yeah.
Men bring things to the table. They, can make you into who you want to be. Like, no, that's not. I want a whole person. I'm a whole person. I want another whole person next to me. I don't want a half of a person. Someone who have to complete my better half. I don't want any of that crap. I want a fully realized adult human being who's choosing to be with me. I'm choosing to be with him. And if we decide to make different choices, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Sure. I do have sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
I was just going to say, it made me think about one time we did this women's thing, and we were broken up into like single, married, divorced or widowed type deal. And
at church, right?
Yep. And the one thing that stuck with me was that singleness is a gift, and being married is not something that is like a level up. Right. It's not like the natural next step for some people. And what you just said made me think of that. Like, I feel like sometimes when you are single or not in a relationship, people are like, oh, when you go get married, or when you gonna have kids, or like, what is your natural next step? And sometimes it's just being in this gift of singleness and loving on me, choosing me.
And getting to prioritize yourself.
Right. And I mean, being with God, like maybe that is who you're supposed to be with in some instances, and not relying or being with another person or child or whatever have you. I think that people forget about that part, because then when you don't focus on that part, then you don't become that whole being that you were referencing. Right. Yeah. So then that way you can be good for anybody else.
Right.
But I think you also need to do all of that in a relationship too. Like, you still need to be an individual while in a relationship. You still need to love on yourself, prioritize your needs, all of those things, because otherwise you can't be the best version of you for your partner or children. And I think in this conversation, people forget a lot of things. Like, we're living a lot longer than we used to decades ago in our parents' or grandparents' generation. So before, marrying was a level up. It was a way to have status or have money or have opportunity. Now you can do all that by yourself as a man or woman, or other, or whoever you want to be. You can do all of those things without being partnered. So there's less impetus. There's less like reason to marry unless you truly, truly want to. And marriage is ghetto as hell. Like, it's not like the best in here. Like, marriage is like this, like, it's so ghetto. It's ridiculous. Having kids is even more ghetto. Like, it's not even like this thing where, oh my God, I'm dying for it. Like, yes, of course, partnering is great. And I love being happily married. But at the same time, like, I'm a whole person. So if I'm not happy, I'm not going to stay married just for the hell of it, because I want to be happy with you or without you. And I think that people get caught up in this idea that like, once you get married, like, then you're locked in forever. Or like, then everything starts, right? Like, now you're going to start being a good partner. Now you're going to start being a good man. Now you're going to start doing all these things. Like, since when? You flipped the switch when we said I do? Like, where were you at all those years ago, you know? And then people come to therapy thinking, well, we got married. How come we're still arguing? Because you're the same people you were before you crossed that threshold of being married.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so you can't like get around that.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Do you find that now with therapy and mental health being less taboo than it has been previously, that do you still have, I'm not even gonna say still, do you have more women clients that come in wanting to kind of become their best selves individually before trying to partner versus men trying to better themselves trying to partner? I feel like there at least seems to be a stigma, or at least the internets are telling us that women are becoming whole, but men necessarily aren't working to become whole.
So I have a lot more female clients than men because I am a female therapist. And I respect that men want to talk to other men. So please go do that.
Yeah.
But I do think that women come to therapy individually most times because they're trying to heal from a breakup and they want to like analyze it, you know, like go over what happened, figure out how they can be different for the next person or how they can heal to get that person back. And then we have to have several conversations around like, well, what about you? What do you want separate from being partnered? What about you as a person and not just you in the function of a partner?
Yeah.
But I mostly treat couples. So I can say that when the couples come to me, a lot more men are coming to therapy with their partner saying like, no, we need to go to therapy and work this out because it's not happening by ourselves. We're not able to fix it alone. And there's less of a hesitation to like engage in therapy than there was before from my male clients for sure.
I have a follow-up question. Oh, did you have one?
No.
How many women are you seeing that come to therapy alone, or couples that you seeing are coming to therapy because of like, instead of like being in a formalized relationship, that they're in situationships or are trying to heal from a situationship?
Not very often. They mostly come in a relationship trying to figure out like our natural next step, like you were saying before, Nicole, like what happens from here? We've been together for X number of years. We live together or we don't. We have kids or we don't. Are we going to shit off the pot? Like, what are we doing at this juncture of our relationship? And why haven't we made some of those steps that people think are moving forward?
Okay.
So they're usually like stuck and trying to figure out how do we figure this out or break up.
Okay. Got it. I asked that question because there was another post that we saw this week where a woman was talking about, I think it was another podcast, and she asked her male guest, like, how long has it been since you've been in a relationship? And he's like, oh, about a year. And she was like, really, like a year, like not like casually dating anyone, no situationships. And he's like, oh, well, like situationships. He was like, but those don't count. And she was like, I'm so tired of people not counting situationships as relationships. The relationships, you do all the kinds of things that you do in relationships. You just have a different title for it, but it has like the same kind of like premise and like actions, but you are titling it something different because you don't have intention behind it. But that doesn't mean it's not still a form of a relationship. And I kind of wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I think that two things can be true.
Sure.
So for that woman, she can feel like it's a relationship and he can feel like it's not that for me. And I think that's why people come to therapy in relationships most times, is that like we operate off of assumption as human beings, right? So we say like, oh, I know what love means. Everybody knows what love means. No, I know what I think love means.
Yeah.
And I think that you all think the same thing I think, right? But we don't ever have the conversation to say, what do you think love means? Here's what I think it means. Oh shit, we don't think the same thing. Right? We don't talk about that. So we go on thinking, well, everyone knows what everyone knows. And nobody knows the same things because everyone's different.
Sure.
So now you're in a relationship or situationship, but you're thinking, I know what's happening because obviously if he's doing X, Y, and Z, that has to mean A, B, and C. And he's thinking, I'm just here. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm just here to see what happens. And because we're not taking the time to slow down communication and literally exchange ideas around what do these words mean to you? What do these actions mean to you? Then you come in therapy like, I don't get why we're not happy. Well, because you haven't been doing the same thing at all. You're not in the same book, much less on the same page. So let's talk about like what we're not talking about. Let's have the right level of conversation at least.
Sure. And how do you think situationships play into the dynamic of choosing versus being chosen?
I think situationships are kind of like the new relationship sometimes, you know, like whereas like living together is like now replacing marriage for a lot of people. So again, because we're living longer and we're experiencing more things as human beings, we're seeing that there's all kinds of ways to be happy, all kinds of ways to get our needs met, all kinds of ways to be loving and with somebody without having to be under this normative umbrella of marriage or a relationship or whatever. So I think if you're in a situationship and you're communicating openly and honestly about where I want this to go and where I'm at right now, then you can move into a relationship. You can, of course, be chosen and go into the next phase of things, or you can stay where you're at and do that forever and that be happy too. I think that people have to get comfortable with living on their own terms and find somebody who lives on the same terms and being okay with that versus trying to always fit a norm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you feel about ultimatums? And have you seen the show?
I have not seen the show. I think ultimatums are toxic. I think they're unnecessary. And I think it's more about control and accountability for an ultimatum. Because I think
whose accountability? The person giving the ultimatum?
The person giving the ultimatum is trying to hold the person accountable, but really they're trying to control that person. Because if you give an ultimatum, then you already know what that person doesn't want to do, right? Because you're saying, well, you're going to lose me if you don't do this thing. And I think that's a boundary setting that happens way too late. And that tells me that you've enabled things that you didn't want to be a part of until you got to your limit. And now you're at that limit of like, either do this or I'm out. You should have been out months ago, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You have to get to that place of saying, here's an ultimatum.
Mm-hmm. That's what the premise of the show is.
I want to know what that thought bubble was. Sorry.
Yeah, me too.
No,
me too.
I just think that I never considered how someone else was trying to control that narrative. When I think about ultimatums, to your point, at some point that somebody's ready to already really walk away. And I never included that to be the things that you've allowed, right? Like I think a lot of times we'll be in relationships and I can see why the narrative is for some people, regardless of gender, is that, you've placed me into this relationship because you view me as this, but you never have ever even asked me, to your point, what love looks like, what a relationship looks like. We've just been going through the motions and I've never really been where you are. So instead, I've just kind of been floating around. And what it sounds like to me, what happens in ultimatums is that people are like, well, I'm ready to do this. And you've really never told me yes or no. And it's like, no, they probably already have.
Yeah, you're not listening.
You're just not listening.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I don't think that, like, especially with the show, like to have brought all the way on a show and you are not, you're not listening to this person. What are we even doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't not communicate. Everything's a communication.
Yeah.
Silent treatment is a communication. Slamming a door is a communication. So you're always communicating in some way, shape, or form. It's just whether or not you really want to hear it.
Yeah.
Or if you know what that communication means because you haven't taken the moment to ask.
I mean, I feel like, sorry, I'm going to be a dissenter because I feel like we're being really wholesome and I hate that for us. I think that there are situations where you can be in a relationship. I haven't even said my point yet. Where you can be in a relationship and someone is like, oh, once you do X, Y, Z, then I'll be ready. But instead of holding true to that, they're like moving goalposts. Or in like situationships where people are selling you the dream and then bringing you down to earth, like once you try to define what things are. And I feel like those are the scenarios in which probably that I'm talking about, where it's not just like a misunderstanding or like a decision to not talk about the things that really need to be addressed, but it's like really someone manipulating you to be in a relationship that you didn't sign up for, even though you had those communications.
And so I think that makes a lot of sense. I agree with you about that. I think that can be approached with a conversation versus an ultimatum, because I think it should be like, here's what I'm ready for. I'm ready for us to be together. I'm ready for us to make this a serious and official thing. I've proven that, I'm loyal to you, or I feel like you've given me signs of wanting to be with me too, because you've done this, this, and that. And so I'm at this point now, I don't want to move forward in the same way. I'm ready to move forward in this direction only, or we have to go our separate ways. Where are you at? Versus if you don't be with me now, I'm going to leave you.
But it's not the same thing. Essentially, you just might not be displaying it. Because if I'm just like, this is where I'm at, this is what I want for us, and you're like, no, my next move likely is going to be to leave.
But one is a demand and the other is like presenting a conversation. That's how I perceive the difference.
Yeah, I think tonality matters. And I also feel like the first example is you drawing out where the person is and seeking to understand them too, versus get on my page or this is a wrap. I feel like that's disrespecting everything, including that person.
Fair enough.
And it comes off as like, I have to make a decision right now in this moment, or else this thing I've been this person I care about is gone forever, that's not fair to either one of you. Because I'm going to be thinking, is he with me because I ultimatum, or is he with me because he wants to be with me?
Yeah.
Is he with me because I forced him to do it because he didn't want to lose me so bad, or because he really wants to be here?
Okay.
And now you start this whole like train of like mistrust and insecurity that could have been avoided by a conversation.
Yeah.
And people don't want to be uncomfortable so bad that they'll jump through hoops to avoid discomfort and then create that self-fulfilling prophecy of worse than what you could have imagined happening.
Yeah, that's fair. I hear you. Okay.
Fitting.
Bars. This is why you're the professional. We had to have you here.
Because the way this conversation would have been 8 times more toxic without you.
All the way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess this kind of segues this. We were talking about heteronormative relationships. But I guess to get into lesbian and gay relationships, as I'm trying to think with regards to that, I do think that still heteronormative ways of being do play out a lot within same-sex relationships. However, it's interesting because I think when I think about my dating experience, I didn't mind being approached, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm not interested if they approach me, or, you know, it's something less than ideal if somebody approached me. If anything, it was like, oh, okay. Hey, still got the juice.
That's right.
But I do think it's interesting because I do know, and I see people who feel as if those heteronormative ways of viewing relationships and dating in general are still kind of important to play out throughout the relationship, right? So it may not be only in the chosen aspect, but even in how they interact in the relationship as whether or not they want to be fully in or out, right? Or like, I'm going to wait to, I know for sure that I've chosen you before I know, you know, that I'm saying I'm in love, or, you know, doing all the things of a situationship and not really communicating about what they may or may not want, right? Like it may be, it's cool for now, and I'm going to do whatever I do. And, you know, as much as, especially with lesbians, as quickly as we do get into relationships, that does not mean that that same thing isn't happening outside of that one core relationship, right? People are still doing it outside of. So I don't know. I feel like it's almost the same. I think that maybe the initial choosing may be a little different, but the things that I've seen, and I don't know if anybody else has friends or people who could speak to that, but for me personally, I feel like I see some of the same things playing.
And do you feel like it plays into like the role of the dynamic of the relationship, like whether you're like the stud or the femme, or like,
yes,
okay,
I definitely do. It's not always for sure, but I definitely see the same struggles, right? Of just trying to figure out, okay, do I mirror what I have already seen elsewhere, or am I really in full, not even control, but just full awareness of what I want to be brought into the relationship and what I'm bringing to the relationship? Especially, I think early on as you're even exploring your sexuality in general, right? Because as you're trying to figure that out, the rest of the world will tell you, you know, if you're going to be more dominant person, that you need to act and do these things, and you may perform them for a while, right? Until you can figure out, oh, this is coming from a 40-year-old, so maybe it's different for somebody who's 20, but I feel like I was, when I'm in my 20s, I was very much performing until I then realized, okay, no, some of these things are me, but some of these things are just performative for whatever else everyone else is saying should be, and not necessarily what I want out of a relationship. And this is why I was saying earlier too, I feel like I don't know what it is like to be in a straight relationship, but it feels like that's what everyone's kind of maybe, you know, determining as they get older, as they work through relationships. And even what Racine said earlier, like you have to have the experience of relationships to even be able to know, right? Sure. Like I don't want to say like it's a negative thing for people to maybe play those roles, but sometimes you got to play them in order to know what you don't even like to do.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like, you know, it may come as a thing, especially for women, where we're very much hard on men because of that. But sometimes maybe you got to mess up. Hopefully not with me, but maybe you got to mess up a couple times before you can figure out what it is. I'm not giving an excuse, but I'm just saying I understand there are pressures from outside that make you feel like you got to do something. Do it once, do it twice, but then after that, like
decide if it's actually for you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work with a lot of polyamorous clients, and I think that's the only community in which I see this dynamic not being such a big deal of like who's taking the lead or who's choosing versus being chosen, because you have to find other people who are also polyamorous, right? To be a part of the dynamic. So I've only seen that where only one partner in a relationship is polyamorous and the other one is monogamous. Then there's some of that choosing and chosen where the other people fit in. But I can give the polyamorous community a lot of credit that they have a lot of boundaries in their relationships, a lot of very thought out, discussed structure to how they partner, where those partners fit in, like on a hierarchy and all of those things that I think if people who were monogamous adopted, that it would solve a lot of relationship issues that I see on a common basis.
So like what? Because I'm curious.
Please, let's get into it.
So what I've seen, at least, I can speak to my very limited experience with polyamory, not with myself, but with clients. I've seen it where there's normally a main couple, you know, like the couple that is like, it's me and you and everybody else fits in around us and is organized around us.
Mm-hmm.
And then either one or both of those partners have other partners who are like second tier or third tier people. And those tiers determine how much time you spend with them. It determines what kind of levels of affection or intimacy you might explore with those people and how much do you get invested in those other relationships. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the other tiers of people are on both partners' lists at different spots, right? So that can complicate, but also clarify things. Like if we're in a primary relationship and Tiffany is on my second tier, which is on your third tier, then I'm going to see her more than you might see her. We may all have sex together at some points, but she also understands and respects that you and I are primary, so she can't penetrate the relationship past a certain point.
Or do I respect it? Like, do you ever have like situations where people are like, no, I'm trying to get to number one?
Yes, absolutely.
I was like, but does Tiffany know that she's my second tier? Like, is it clear?
Have I seen the chart?
It depends on how.
Does she know where she?
It depends on the couple. So some couples will explain all this to the other people. Some people won't explain it past second tier, and the rest sort of knows like you're not primary. So
I want to know where I am on the list.
And I want to know that you know where I am. And also, like, what?
And sometimes they don't know they're on a list. Sometimes they think that we're just in a situationship. And so, like, you know, we see each other every now and then, and they have no clue about their.
My competitive side wants to move up.
Oh,
not promote me.
Polyamory is not for you.
Aw. I want to be a part.
Choose me and then promote me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm in tier 3 now, but by May, I want to get to tier 2.
Okay,
Christmas
we're going to
gifts.
have some competitions and figure out who wins.
So as an overachiever, if you're already one, what do you do?
See, that's why I got to just stay with one person. Yeah.
No. Move on. Okay.
Not for me.
I mean,
but as core, polyamory is about, of course, like the freedom to explore connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And acknowledging that human beings have a fluidity about attraction or interest or sexual prowess, and allowing that to naturally ebb and flow organically.
Mm-hmm. Explain why you're cracking up.
Because I saw it made me think of this show that popped up on TLC. So you know how there's Sister Wives, obviously. Everybody knows that show. Brother Husbands.
It's my joint.
And I giggled so hard. And you know how like a commercial pops up? I looked over Harry. He was like, go to bed. Go to sleep.
Y'all should watch it. That was a good show.
Before you get any ideas, just go ahead and go to sleep.
I don't know. Brother Husbands is a good show.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm not watching that.
You should.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Now I gotta watch it.
You should. You should watch it. It's so good.
Okay.
You like messy TV? Yeah, tune in because that's
I like it
exactly.
because it's a balance. We're always seeing a lot of like men having multiple partners. We don't always see women with multiple partners where people aren't like, oh, she's a hoe or she's for the streets or whatever. And this shows in particular, these women are very clear and their partners are okay with them having multiple partners. In most of these cases, the men don't want another partner. They only want her, but they're okay with her exploring with other men. And so it's very nice to finally see a woman being centered and being chosen and being wanted by multiple people. And those other men are not like
there's harmony.
Yeah, like they're okay with their role in her relationship. I mean, some of them do like they don't want her to have more. They're okay with like what they currently have. But
I thought you were good. Now we introduce her.
Yeah, but
I've seen that too. When people get added in, it's like, wait a minute, like we went from 4 to 5. Why? Like, and then that competitive spirit comes out of like, why is this not good enough? What more do you need?
Yeah,
exactly.
What is that person doing for you that none of us are doing for you?
Right.
Like, let me show you.
Okay.
My God.
I can show you better. I can tell you.
Right.
No, it's a really good show. You guys should watch it. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Should we go on to like the aspect of when like the choosing versus chosen gets flipped?
Yeah, we should.
So that will incorporate dynamics such as like women asking men out, women proposing to men, women denying proposals.
Before we get there, hold on a second. I just remembered the guy that somebody said, I don't know, maybe it was me, that was in a, oh God, what was it called? It wasn't necessarily a polyamorous relationship, but he was what? No, he wasn't in a throuple either. I believe it was a white guy. I can't think of what he was just saying. Like it wasn't until he was in this scenario where he was able to have multiple partners and
he was he was at a colony.
Okay, I didn't know if that was right. See, I didn't know if that was the word.
Commune.
I don't know. Colony is I think that's the name he actually
colony,
used.
Right?
I think he used colony, which is like I was like I don't cringe, but
sorry,
I think that's
the wrong terminology.
Yeah, I think that's actually what he did use. It just doesn't seem right. But okay, whatever. The long story short being that he had multiple partners. So this is bringing me back to sorry, shifting it. Just remembered. But he was saying that even in when he did not learn how to have a post coital intimacy until he had multiple partners, because for him the goal was, all right, I've chosen this person, then I need to get mine out of that scenario, versus it being something when he's like, well, when I know I was going to get it all the time, then it was a matter of, oh, okay, well, what else can I bring to the table other than my pain?
Or like the conversations that would ensue after the sex, because it's like an understood and communal, I guess, like relationship where they know that there are other like people and dynamics, so it like takes away some of that awkwardness and like opens up the floor for like more conversation around like, what was that sexual experience like for you?
Right.
I think he also talked about like how it was his like he like really got better as a sexual partner through that dynamic.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you're no longer chasing sex because sex is so readily available, like what else do I bring? Like you said, what else do I bring to the table? How else is this relationship going to change, and how is it going to be better? Because I can get sex from a plethora of people here. So I want something more. Yeah. And how do I foster that type of relationship as well? It's like,
what a concept. Liking a person rather than just their sexual organ.
Yeah, a whole.
Not being this sexual conquest, which I think also ties into the overall topic of like wanting to not only choose, but determine who you are choosing based on the things that you want, as far as maybe it's physical. For him, it sounded like it was very physical before, and he had to really begin to assess these people as potential partners for something other than just the act of sex. But yes, what beyond this act of sex am I bringing to the table? What are they bringing? How can we build on this relationship? A relationship that is, yes, it includes sex, but the sex is not maybe what his main focus was. And which is interesting to me, because I think there are some people out there who are only seeking relationships for the physical and not so much for what they are bringing to the table, what they see as that person, as their partner, as what would they like to see long term going on between them. Sometimes it quite literally is transactional for a lot of people, and until you can get to a mature state of saying, oh, okay, now that I've gotten this, what outside of the sex do I appreciate about the relationship? Do I bring to this relationship? How can we grow? I don't know. I just think that was an interesting piece that I hadn't considered. Some people having a difficulty navigating with regards to relationship.
Yeah, I think it also kind of combats the irony that, like, sometimes when you hear like men talk about like their preferences or like what they want, or there's like this severe divide in what they want from a sexual partner that is a conquest versus what they want in a girlfriend or a wife. And it's like there is no overlap. It's like if I've done XYZ with you, or you allowed me to do that to you or with you, even though we were in agreement and it was consensual, now I see you as less than or unworthy of being in a certain tier with me, which is kind of nigga, you did it.
You agreed to it.
It don't make you less. Being together, we didn't go down.
The cognitive dissonance when it comes to shit like that is real, because women are not supposed to do XYZ, but for me as a man, it's okay in a lot of situations.
I mean, it's the double standard that we've all been accustomed to since the beginning of time. I can do these things, you can't. If you do these things, it's like the whole, you know, when people use the terminology hoe, it's like women who have
they mean women, men, but men can be hoes too.
Right. And I think people forget that, or it's not that they forget it, they choose to acknowledge it.
Yeah,
for sure. Do you see that with any of your couples, like where you have men that are like, I'm providing, I'm doing X, I'm protecting, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but she's still not happy. I don't understand why. Like, do you ever?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That happens in all forms and fashions, right? Of like, or it could be women too. Of I'm taking care of the kids. I'm here. I'm cooking, cleaning. I'm having sex with you whenever you want to. What more do you want? Like, why are you not happy? Why are your needs not being met? And that goes back to either not being partnered with somebody who has same values and ideas and beliefs as you. Not communicating about things when they change, because people are always changing and growing and not at the same rates in a relationship. But also it's about like, what are you prioritizing? Like, what are you in a relationship for? What is the substance behind your couplehood? Is it about having children? Is it about everlasting happiness and love and security? Is it about just making your cultural needs check a box? Is it about making your parents happy? You know, the motivations, I think, really play into how intense the tensions can get to, and then also how motivated people are to change it as well.
That's real. How honest are people when they're answering the question of why are you in this relationship? Like, what if the answer is to check a box and to make my parents happy? Like, do people
they get there eventually? They first say like, oh, love, and I'm like, I don't care about love. Yes, okay, you love each other, great. What else is there? That's because cute. Love is not enough. Love is not everything, right? It's something, and it can be everything in some respect. But if you don't have respect, if you don't have trust, if you don't have friendship or communication skills, and also problem solving skills, the love doesn't mean anything. So let's put love aside for a second and talk about like what else is there. And if there's nothing else there, then that could be the problem too.
That's real.
Do you ever recommend breaking up?
So I don't recommend breaking up or staying together, but what I do is I lay out for a couple what their relationship actually is, right? Like what they're both doing, how they're contributing to their problem, but also like what can change. No, I think both people are. Like, I don't believe in blame, right? Because you're both playing a role in a relationship. So even if your role is just being there and not leaving that person, you still are playing a role. You have accountability. So like if we lay out what it really is and we lay out what can change, what the possibilities are, then you get to decide what you do with that. Do you want to put in this work and make this different? Do you want to break up? Or do you want to keep doing what you're doing now and live like this forever? I'm not invested either way. I tell my clients, I'm not invested in you staying together or breaking up. I go home to my husband. So whatever y'all do is up to you. But like, while we're here, if we're going to use this space productively, you know, what do you want to come of it? And it's on you. It's not up to me. I can't make you go home and be better. And therapy is not real life. Therapy is like 1 hour out of your whole entire week, right? You leave therapy, you have to then go and do those things in real life. You have to make those different decisions. You got to make those different statements to your partner. That's the work. Therapy is like getting an oil change, you know? So you have to then go back on the road and figure it out for the next 2,000 miles. I won't be there with you. So figure it out here and then start doing it in real life.
Yeah.
Real.
No, I like that a lot. So I guess
I was going to say, it made me think of Chrissy and Jim Jones.
Oh, God.
This is a perfect segue.
What's my sign?
Yeah. Run, girl. And I would agree, mainly because them being together for so incredibly long, and Chrissy is like, when are we going to get married? When are we get married? I feel like hearing you speak, it's like she's checking a box. Like she is doing the natural next, or the societal norm to, you've been in a relationship for so long, y'all have put up with each other's bullshit, now you must get married.
You're clearly not leaving this man. So what is marriage doing for you?
Right.
Yeah.
And So then she proposes to him.
More than one.
They're still not married.
Yeah, she's proposed a couple times, I think.
Did he say yes?
Yes.
Every time she's done it?
He
I think so.
He has
So
a
if he
ring
said
and
yes, then
everything.
why did she propose again?
Because they still hadn't gotten married. Because if my memory serves me correctly, they went on a show and he hasn't chosen a date.
Yes, the whole show is about them getting married, and they did not get married when the season was over.
Yeah.
Like, and so my thing is, I want to know from her, like, what is supposed to change once you're married? What is the difference between how you all have been for the whole decade of you being together versus like, okay, tomorrow we get married. Next day, what's new and different?
Right.
Because I don't think there's anything there for her except for like the satisfaction of he finally chose me or he finally committed to me in this public way. No one can deny this now because we're married. Like the insecurity I feel like is coming from her. And if you want to get married so bad he's not marrying you, you're not leaving. So again, it goes back to a boundary issue. It's not a real boundary. There's no consequence to it. So if your boundary is we must be married or else we're going to break up, you haven't left him yet. So to me, I wouldn't get married either if I was Jim Jones because why? What's different?
Right.
You're still going to be here tomorrow. So what am I getting married for? Paying for a wedding, doing all this hoopla, giving you the satisfaction. And sometimes that's about control too. Just not doing the thing you know your partner really, really wants just to see how long they'll stay on the hook. Of like, I don't have to marry you because you're still going to be here.
Because to that point too, like, why would you propose again? Like the proposing the first time didn't get you to the end that you wanted.
Unless you were at the courthouse and being like, we're going to do this today. What are we doing? Right.
And they can do whenever they want to, right? They can go to a courthouse. They can have a friend go online, pay $100 in an hour, you're ordained, and they can marry them the next second. So something about it for him means enough to not actually go through with it. And I feel like if I was her, I'd want to know, like, why are you holding so hard to not marrying me? Like, what is that about? And that'd be enough for me to say, well, we can just break up because there's something there that you feel like I'm either not good enough for or you're not ready for. And we've been playing this game for decades now, and there's no point to it.
Right.
Or just stop wanting to get married because you're just not going to.
Yeah.
So in an instance where we're not looking at the toxic form of this, maybe the healthy form of this, where outside of the norm, a woman proposes to a man, he says yes, and they actually do get married. Do y'all think that that's weird?
Oh.
If they actually do get married, I could never see myself proposing to a man.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Yeah, I'm not. I would ask you out.
I'm not doing it.
I would approach a man like if I was out and I was like attracted to you and I wanted to get to know you. I've done that before. I will ask a man out. There's some traditional part of me that wants to be like, I want a man to lead. And if I'm already starting off as I'm taking the lead, I feel like it might be setting a precedence where you're always taking a back seat.
Okay.
And I feel like that plays a lot into it because my answer is similar. Like if it depends on the dynamic that I want in my relationship, right? Like if I see myself as being like the lead and head of household, like I can see it not being toxic. Now you getting on your knee for a man, just no. No.
It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog.
You can ask the question.
No.
You can like open, I don't know, a man with an engagement ring is also cringe to me. I guess like the patriarchy is winning in some ways.
Slide that box up.
Yeah. But like,
also you're for the patriarchy today,
listen, is it your wedding band with a rock on it? Like I'm confused. Anyways.
I'll give you a watch. It could be an engagement watch. I'm not giving you no ring.
I like that. Yeah. I feel like if you're okay with the dynamic that you are like the lead in the relationship and it empowers you to choose rather than waiting to be chosen, I feel like there is validity in that. I will probably, I don't know, I'll give myself some time, but for the next 10 years, I'm probably going to cringe every time I see a woman proposing to a man.
Oh, so you're for the patriarchy.
I am in this one way.
I can see like kind of like taking the bull by the horns and like you deciding the trajectory of your life and your relationship. If that's what you really want, like not being choosing not to be on the sidelines or, you know, in your life. If that's what you really want to do, you found your person, you found your mate, and you really want to get married, and you're just tired of waiting. I can see the appeal for some people.
Yeah.
I can't, for me personally, I can't see myself proposing to it.
I think that there was this one way that I saw it and it didn't make me cringe, and I'll explain why. But they were at Disney World and maybe also why, because it was a white couple. So do you? But she proposed to her boyfriend, and at like soon as she proposed, her boyfriend was like so shocked and also pulled a ring out of his back pocket and proposed back. And I was like, okay, this feels so balanced. Like I really like that. Like I like that they were on the same page. I think I also correlate women proposing with desperation. And so until that like bond is like no longer tied in my mind, I will always cringe about it.
I can see that too, because it's like, yeah, I can see that.
See, I don't think of it as like setting a precedent at all. I just feel like the patriarchy can win with me with this one too, is like in my mind, right? A person wanting to be with me and seeing me as their wife and their partner is expressed by them buying a ring, playing this out, and putting forethought into asking me to be a part of that. But I think it also comes from someplace. It comes from us discussing that we're ready for marriage and we want to be married.
It should not be a surprise.
So it shouldn't be a surprise for anybody, whether it's a woman doing it or a man doing it. And so I think that's why the desperation part might be connected for you, Tiffany, of like, she's doing this as a shock to him. And he's like, wait, what? We're getting married?
We met yesterday.
She's like, yes, please. I think that's where it might come from.
For sure.
But I don't think it's that. For me, it's just like, again, like I want to see your commitment expressed in this form or fashion. And I think that's not what men should do. But that's what I want my man and my husband did do, or else we wouldn't have gotten married, right? But I also think that there's something about men feeling like, if she proposes to me, then I'm less of a man. Because I think you can lead in other ways. I think that there's different ways in a relationship that each person is going to lead at different points because of their skill set or their knowledge or their talents. And it's okay to be like superstars at your thing and letting that thing take over beyond gender roles or gender assignment or, what we think patriarchally about marriage and marital positions. So I think, again, it has to be what you and your partner agree on. So if y'all like it, I love it. Go for it. Yeah. It won't be me, but go for it.
Won't be me either.
I love that for you, sis.
Sounds cool.
I think also, to me, when it makes me think about when you were saying even like the planning out, like I think it does also equate to the effort that you were putting into this relationship in general, right? Like I think this is my cringe. It's just mine. I'm just going to own it. But it drives me absolutely crazy when I see people getting engaged on somebody's birthday or Christmas. It just feels like
same.
Like
performative.
Like performative.
It feels cheap. Yeah.
And like you
low effort.
Low effort.
Yeah.
Like for me, man or woman, like if you're gonna propose, let's choose a time that maybe is important to us or important to
let it be its own thing.
Yes. And it's not necessarily my major things, I think, are birthday and Christmas. Because it just feels like, oh, well, I know for sure I have to get a gift on this time. So let me just grab
might as well.
Right. Might as well just, offer up this engagement because, we've been talking about it. And it's like, no, like let it be something outside of that. But also regardless of, to me, the sex doesn't matter but in general, or the role and doesn't matter to me, but your effort, right? Like I think a lot of times too, what I have seen in straight relationships is there's really no effort being made at all. There may be an ultimatum that was given and then the person is like, oh, okay, all right, let me do that. And then after that, then there's no continued effort, right? So I can see like, all right, you've started this. We've been in, even before the engagement, there's some type of effort. The engagement, there's some type of effort. Continued effort into the relationship. Like that for me is like what is important. So regardless of gender, if you are putting forth that effort and that effort is being met by the other person along the way, then great. But I don't want you to start at the engagement or even let the engagement be the only effort you're going to do either.
Sure.
Like that to me is important. I think sometimes people are just choosing just to do and not really to choose. And I think that's when we're talking about choosing in general, you can choose me, but then not do anything after you chosen. So like, what are we talking about? Like if there's no effort at all, don't choose me.
It's so funny.
Follow through. Yeah. I don't think the planning or effort has to even be extravagant either. Like there's a movie, I forget the movie where like there was a guy and a girl, they're in bed and he's proposing to her, but she doesn't know it, right? He's talking to her about all this stuff and he ties like the string on her finger. And he tells her how like, the string is a connection between his heart and her heart. And he slides the ring down the string onto her finger. And I bawled out crying. Like, that was so cute and intimate and so thought out that he had a whole speech prepared. They were in bed, casual day. And that to me is extravagant. Like that's so special and important. Like, yes, the big, coordinated dance and the balloons and the flowers and the fireworks, that's cool too. But I don't think that planning has to mean like money or extravagance or opulence. I think it's just about knowing your partner, knowing what they like and how they'll respond to this thing and making it special about them, because it is ultimately about them, right? Like, will you marry me? Will you be the person with me forever?
Yeah, because they love opulence. And I think a string in bed might not go over well. But I do think
exactly. But you should know that.
Yeah, you should know that about your person that you're with. Yeah. It's funny you say about holidays because engagement season is like Christmas to Valentine's Day.
I hate it.
I think those engagements are so phony. I'm like, oh, they're gonna break up. I don't believe in them. I don't like it.
Dang.
I don't like it.
As a former wedding planner, I love it.
I was about to say, no, Harry, don't.
I think it goes back to knowing your partner. Like if your partner loves Christmas, loves Valentine's Day, loves the over the top and all that stuff, you doing all that for them is going to be great because they love that.
Right.
But if that's not what you love, then doing it during that time is not about them. It's about you.
But and it's also like if they love like being around family and they want their engagement to be around those people and Christmas is like the perfect kismet for that.
They're all there.
Yeah, then I can understand that too.
But I also think that like that to me also like adds such pressure to the moment, right? Because like this big crescendo of like, okay, everyone's here. It's Christmas night. Now's the time. I don't think it's a surprise. Like it's going to happen now because grandma's here. Everybody's cameras out.
And I think differently because if that's how Christmas is, anyways, and to your point, like you've had the conversation about like we know we want to get married, then there is no pressure and it may not be like this weird.
That's true.
Now if you flew in my entire family for a random event, then okay.
Yeah. I'm always shocked too when people say no, because I'm like, did you guys talk about the proposal engagement ahead of time? Like when people go to like big like stadiums and they put it like on the big screen and the girl is looking like real crazy because she's like, why are you doing this?
But again, it's about them and not their partner. But I'm also just like, they want to do the big gesture.
I'm not proposing to you unless I know you're saying yes.
But I feel like situation like breeds a certain reaction too, because I was like, I want to marry you and I would love for you to propose to me. Do not do it in this capacity. I do not want to be on a big screen at a game. I don't want to say yes and then be surrounded by strangers.
Now imagine if we did do that. Would you have said no if he had done it in that way?
I wouldn't have said no, but I would have been pissed.
You'd have been pissed, right?
But you would have said yes.
I totally get that.
Yeah, I'm not going to embarrass him, especially because I want to marry him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be a surprise, though.
It shouldn't be a surprise. And it should definitely be in the fashion of your partner's, like, not love language. I hate those tropes.
Liking.
Of your partner's.
Wait, why do you hate love language?
I don't like anything that categorizes people in these, like, boxes of, like, this is now, like, your way of doing everything. Because, again, people are fluid. But also because, like, my love languages is all of them. Like I want everything all the time, every day. I don't, like nothing is more or less important. I think it's about the mood or the thing or the gesture, whatever it is.
Yep.
So I'm like, I cringe at the things that are like, read this book. You're in this, you're a diamond, not a heart, or you're a star. And so stars read these pages. I feel like that's helpful for some people and it's not nothing, but I think that people are more complex than that.
You know what? That's really real. Because my like love language has always been like touch, but in this phase of my life, and I think specifically marriage and like being probably busier than I've ever been, like acts of service is now like something that like will get my heart going. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whereas before I was
walk into dishes wash, you like, wait a minute, look at my man.
He's mopping.
Okay.
But I did want to go back in the same conversation. I found a reel where this girl was saying that like I'm a woman that will ask a man out if I want him, and I was for me, and again, I identify with this because I'm the same way. If I see you, you're attracted to me, I will approach you.
You see me?
Yeah, like let's do this.
You see me seeing you.
But the comments were opposite. And so this one girl was just like, absolutely not. Did it once and never again. They will always treat you like you love them more than they love you because you made the first move. You're not deserving of the same love you give them. Absolutely not. This other girl was like, I'm a queen. They apply. I do the selection. So nope. So how do you, I know we kind of touched on it, but I just would like to get your professional opinion.
That first person, somebody really hurt her because that was personal specific.
Yes.
Like, that was about
not
her.
Okay.
Okay. I think you got to do what works for you. Like for a long time in my life, I was like, I'm not approaching a man. I'm not doing that. Like men are supposed to approach me. I'm too shy to do that. I don't want to do it. But I realized it was about like the rejection, right? Like when somebody says no.
Yeah.
And I give men credit because in heteronormative spaces, they do have to create something out of nothing. They do have to be the ones to pursue you and do all that stuff. But I had a professor in my PhD program that like me and him argued every single class about what love really was. Because he's just tore my little heart apart of like, love is not magic, And he said, like, love is a choice. He's like, after you meet that person, that's probably the magical thing of meeting the person. But everything after that, you're choosing. You're choosing to call them back. You're choosing to go on a date with them. You're choosing to forgive them. You're choosing to kiss them. And I was like, oh shit, like it really is. Like you're really making all of these choices on a regular basis. And I always tell my clients, like people have choices, right? So you're actively choosing what your life is like right now. Mm-hmm. And it might feel like, no, they're doing this to me, or I'm just so in love with them, but you're still choosing to be part of that dynamic. Yeah. You're choosing to not leave, choosing to not change. You're choosing to, not tell them no to the engagement, whatever it is. It's not happening to you, right? Like you have accountability and you have agency as a person in that. Mm-hmm. And I think that when people approach relationships, they want this to be only magic and not like the active part of it, the intentionality of it.
I agree with that.
So if you're somebody who will approach somebody, approach them. If he doesn't like it, then he's not the person for you. Approach somebody else.
Which is okay. And that's okay.
I agree with those words so wholeheartedly, only because once, I can't remember who said it, but they said being in a relationship is waking up every day choosing that person, regardless of whatever they have going on. And when I tell you that thing resonated with me, like I'm not married yet. And I know, it may happen, it may not, I don't know. But the way we choose each other, it's comforting to me. Like I used to be the person that would hound him like, I ain't getting no younger, what's happening? My family, like I don't do that. Personally, some of our viewers know I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And when I first found out about it, it was like, I don't know if this is going to be good, bad, indifferent. Like, I don't know what this is. And I remember one day I was like, they were trying me on a battery of different medications and it was indeed making me manic. So please listen to your bodies. But like one day I looked at Harry and I was like, look, this is your out, because I don't know what this is. I don't know how it's going to impact me. I don't know if this is the best of it or the worst of it, but this is your moment. If you want to, you need to leave, like type deal. And he was like, I'm not going nowhere. Like, I'm going to be here for you, however you need me to. And in that moment, I felt very, very chosen, probably more chosen than I would if he had gotten on his knee. And I think that that's important for you to know, like,
at my worst, you're still going to be here.
Right.
Yeah. And I think those moments are so special. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I think people discredit those moments or overlook them because they want the big picture. They want something to happen a certain way. And so if it's not in my way, then all your efforts don't mean anything. And there's some credit to that because you're allowed to want what you want. But if you can't see the person for their wholeness and all they bring to you, you may lose out on somebody who's never, ever going to disappoint you or leave you, right? Because they don't propose, or because they don't wash the dishes in this certain way, or because, some other thing that they can control and make different, but it needs to be maybe addressed differently, or like there's more good than bad, or whatever else that could sustain you through the rough patch to the other side of it. Sure. And I think that people just get caught up in the what's not happening. Yeah. And then when they come to therapy, it's like, well, what else is going on? Like, let's zoom out and see the whole picture here, not just this one little piece of it. Because if this is your entire relationship, then yes, what are you going to do about that? But if there is more to it, then how can that more fill in some of that void while you're working through it to get to wherever you want to get to?
Yeah, that's good.
That was good. You almost made me tear up just there.
I know, me too.
I know, it's so beautiful.
Like, I love Harry. I never met him.
He is great.
I love him too.
He is great.
But going back to the whole idea of choosing, I think that, or making choices every day, I always tell my clients that if at any point in your relationship, you should be able to say, no matter how mad you are, no matter what's going on, I want to be here and I want to be here with you. Yeah. I may not like you right now. I may not want you anywhere near me, but I still know that I can say confidently, I want to be here and with you. Yeah. If you can't say that to yourself like enough times in a row or enough days on end, then something is really wrong.
And that's regardless of gender.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless of gender. Yeah. Any kind of relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, you're maddest, at your lowest, you should be able to say that, I think.
I think just to add back to like the asking men out, because I used to a lot when I was dating, because I just like was never comforted by the fact that, I don't know, I used to have this like over and under in my head, like, because sometimes you feel like you are like dressed like down, like to the, like, you look good. You got it that day. And I'm like, why are all only like niggas that I'm not interested in, the ones approaching me. And I just like got kind of fed up with it. So I just started like approaching niggas that I was interested, that I thought were fine. And so like I had a lot of success. It was really great. But I like remember once like asking like my group of guy friends, like, what is your thought process when a woman approaches you? Like, what do you think that like means, or like how do you categorize that? I guess it like in your own mind. They're like, oh, I just know we fucking. And I was like,
sheesh.
That really changed my perception of like interest to approach men, because I was like, that's not how I approach it. Okay. I'm like, it just means that like I obviously think that you look good and I'm interested in getting to know you. Yes. But not like off break, like
0 to 100.
Yeah, like geez.
But I think that's how most men think when they approach a woman, is like, I'm approaching because I want to sleep with you. Yeah, maybe we'll start talking and I might like you as a person, but I'm approaching you because I think that you're attractive physically and I want to see if I can sleep with you.
Was there context? Because I mean, because I feel
like somebody just walked up to me like, damn, I know we fucked at night.
Well, no, because okay, so I'm saying this. Like, I can tell in the way, in the type of approach, what the expectation
what time
is.
You're on?
Yeah, what time you're on, right? Like, when I've been approached and, like, you're doing more than just.
What does that mean? She's grabbing her ass and being like, what's your name?
I mean, it's something with men too,
like your name,
right?
Or even like with men to come up to you, like I feel like the ones that are really touchy feely, I'm like, okay, you're.
I mean, of course, and I mean, I guess the dissonance is that the men I asked that question to are not the men I approach, right? So I guess they don't know my approach because I'm not approaching those niggas,
right?
But like that's not how I'm approaching men. It's really just like having the moxie to begin a conversation,
right?
And see where it goes. Like I might. Decide you 10 words in, I don't even want your number. You know what I mean? But like I'm like open to beginning the conversation.
Yeah, opening myself up.
The potential of what
it feels good to be approached on both ways. So you know, I understand rejection is not great.
Depending on who's approaching you though. Because
gotta be fine, obviously.
Out of pocket,
this is true.
They're not attractive. It's like,
that's the caveat.
Like, so you feel like I would want to be with you? Like, what about me?
How dare you?
It's like, how dare you come up to me and ask for my number?
Why is it always think the unattractive men that are the most like out of pocket? Like you gotta find the middle ground. No, it's the opposite. You need to be chill. You need to be like very like show me the personality that's under there.
Their assumption
we might continue this conversation.
Well, I mean, I think that leads with personality. It's like me walking up to you is like, look, I'm outgoing.
No, I think it's more so their assumption of
if
what
it's loud. I can hear you anyway.
It's more so what they think you want, right? Like, oh, I may not be the most attractive person, but if I can present a swag that I think you would find attractive, maybe you might look past. And what you're saying is that's not what is necessary for you. It's more of a reserved.
Well, it's not even like that. I need you to be reserved. It's more like that mentality right there offends me. Because if you think that I'm going to respond to you being obtuse based on how you perceive me, like I'm already pissed off.
Okay, obtuse.
But I think the ugly dudes are also thinking maybe if nothing else, I'll sleep with her. At least I'll have sex.
Bare
like
minimum.
if she gives me a chance, I could at least hit it, and then if nothing else, make sure she'll be with me for real. But so I think for some men, most men I think are socialized to always have that as a goal and like a bare minimum, like you were saying, to get by with, and then we'll see what else could happen if there's interest or the vibes are right or whatever they like to say.
Yeah,
I also think that someone being attractive is in the eye of the beholder, right? Like what you view as attractive may not be what someone else views it as attractive, and maybe they didn't already knock the bitches down. You don't know.
But also, I feel like the difference with men, it's definitely true. And the difference with men is they got confidence for days. There are men that are like, I know I'm fine, so I know I'm gonna bag me up. And I'm like, wow, you know you're wow.
Man, I have seen people with 10
But there are
heads,
women that do that too. There are women who do that too.
But I feel like it's more common that women do the opposite, where they like doubt themselves.
Well, I think it's because women will tell other women that they're not cute, right? Men don't tell the men they're not attractive. But women will be like, you ugly bitch, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, so I feel like there's...
And men will do it too. Men will call you ugly in a second.
I was just about to say,
only when their feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it comes from...
Men.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like like, so for a group of girls getting dressed, they're gonna be like, oh girl, it's not cute, take it off, put something else on. Don't wear that. Men, like, yeah, son, you look good. They're not gonna tell their friends you don't look cute, because that's now we're going to, oh no, maybe we're homophobic and we're gay.
But I mean, on the flip side,
way they can socialize.
Sure, but I feel like on the flip side, women hype each other up too. Like when you do put that shit on, like girls be like, "Girl, you okay?
You bagging everybody tonight."
Yeah, like I feel like
that's
so. I feel like it's also like very internalized with women. That's like, oh man, like, or even just like knowing that like I can put it on, but like if I don't have it all on, like not feeling comfortable with their bare selves, I feel like it is. To me, that's what the core of it is. And maybe I'm projecting, but I don't know.
Well, no, I think it's because women want their friends to have confidence. But you know that we've all seen a girl out on the street and be like, oh, she has no friends. That bitch has no friends. Look how she looks. Look how she's dressed. You know what I mean? Because we expect our friends to keep us in check. So there's ways in which I think in friends groups, you may not say, oh, you're the ugly friend. You're the one who always to help get together, help put together. But there's a consensus around like, when there's a man approaching who they think he's approaching for. Mm-hmm. There's a way in which women communicate that amongst each other. I don't think men do that. I think men feel like, oh, it's a girl. All of us have a chance. We could all get it. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting. No, see, I'm friends with a group of friends that they're like, oh, this friend in our friend group is going to end up with the baddest wife out of all of us. And there's the unspoken of why they chose that guy. And I don't think it's because he's ugly.
It's about his personality.
It might be a little column A, a little column B. I don't know, because it's the unsaid, right? But there's a reason that they chose that specific human.
Or he's the one who's like the least of the hoe out of them, who they feel like will be a good man and good husband or good provider. So
he's the biggest hoe.
I need to know who this person is.
She's like, no, they're all.
I feel like we already know.
I think it's because he takes the most L's, but I don't know that it's because he is not the biggest hoe.
He rolls with it.
No, we can talk offline because I don't know who you're talking about. All right. Well, one thing we gonna do is tangent.
Okay. Now that we've had like 82 of them on this podcast alone.
Literally.
Okay. What is something that happens to everyone but is still embarrassing for no reason?
Falling.
Yes.
I think having to use the bathroom at someone new's house.
Like poop?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised to hear that from you.
I know.
You be standing on everybody poop.
I do.
Yeah, I don't ask for that anymore.
I'm going to go.
I feel like a bathroom is for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to go. I just still feel like, aw.
No.
I wish I could have did this at home. Yeah, I wish I could have did this at home. I'm going to still go.
Okay.
I'm not going to hold it, but.
For me, it's waiting in the DMV.
It was embarrassing?
Yeah. Like, why are we all in there? Like, we're all in there because of some state regulatory thing, wasting our fucking day. Everyone's hating it. I don't know. We're all sitting there pissed off, being treated rude, and no one gets any special treatment. It doesn't matter what you do, you get treated the same. Doesn't matter who you are.
I wouldn't say the DMV, but maybe getting pulled over.
Feels embarrassing.
Not necessarily embarrassing, but it's like, targeted. Damn, you got me out of all these people out here not doing the speed limit.
And then people drive by and slow down and look at you.
Yeah.
As they drive past you, like, oh, damn, they caught you. Right. And they speed off.
Yeah.
I feel like also like forgetting things, like when you have to like go back into your house like 3 times because you forgot something, like that is
turning around.
Yeah, like it's really annoying and embarrassing.
Before I was on long-term birth control, like forgetting to have like a tampon or a pad. And having to ask somebody, even though I know every adult woman has been in the exact same spot I'm in, having to ask someone, I'm just like,
no.
Do you have a pad?
I think buying condoms.
I was about to say, have you ever asked for a condom?
I think buying them in the store is like, so everybody knows we're fucking. Right. Like, everybody knows what you're doing.
Or actually having to page the person, like when they're locked up, and having to page the person in Walmart, like, hey, in family planning, can you please make it? And having to stand there and wait for someone to come open the container.
Pregnancy test too, probably.
No, plan B. Plan B, I will say. When you have to ask for that, I would say.
Yeah, because the pharmacist definitely judges you. They're not supposed to, but they definitely give you a look.
Because you know I have to come to you, sis. You know I have to ask for it.
And mind your business.
Where I come from.
At least
mind your business. I put myself in an unmarked bag. Like, what's out?
Okay, so this might be a little to your mind, but like when you are on your cycle and maybe you don't know it. So like somebody. So then you got to tell your sis like, hey, you know.
Like you're leaking?
Yeah.
Did you have to yell it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you gotta tell them like
that happened once in high school with somebody on the other team, and when you're the home team, you wear white jerseys. I had to be like I'm so sorry, and you're my nemesis right now, but also there's blood on the back of your shorts.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, and immediately ran, exit stage left.
That happened to me. We were on a catamaran in Puerto Rico.
Oh, no.
And there was a woman, I know she had to be like 10 years my senior. But anyway, she's sitting there with her leg up in the chair. Like, you know how like you fold your leg up like this and then the other leg is like this. And I'm like, mind you, she's wearing like a white skirt. Like this is just bad. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden, like as I'm trying to get her attention, I guess she stood up. And then I see her go away to the bathroom. She's like, like you come back with that face, but it's like that feeling of embarrassment. But it's like, I know it's happened to every woman at least once.
But also, you can't fix it either.
Right.
So I have no change of clothes. I have to, I'm just going to be
on the catamaran looking.
Oh, that sucks.
Now that we've gone back to office,
don't get in the water because
my intern calls it having period pants. Intern's like, you have period pants today?
Yeah.
Like, but whenever you leak on yourself, she's like, you have period pants.
That's the worst.
Yeah. I have like nightmares of that happening to me at the office now that we've gone back to work.
Yeah, that's rough. That's not good.
I used to just keep like them when I had a period. I would just leave them in like my desk. So like, if I happened to pop up, I had something.
Yeah, I have like ones like in like different places, but now that I use a cup, it's like either I have it on me or I don't. I
have an emergency stash though.
Yeah, I do have an emergency stash. I started like hearing about like all of like the bad aspects of tampons, and I just like I can't bring myself to use a pad, and so I switched, and largely I love it, but there are like times where I'm just like, this is the worst thing ever. But it's rare that I feel like that. Usually it's preferred.
I wear period panties. I don't wear tampons so much anymore. And I like those a lot better.
Can I do?
I have an IUD.
It's not positioned right to me.
The cup thing is just it's too much.
Yeah, just get on long-term birth control unless you want kids.
My period just disgusts me overall, so I just can't.
That's fair, but I'm trying to unlearn that.
I know I'm not doing that.
Listen, I haven't had a period in years.
Must be nice.
I don't know.
It scares me for other reasons.
Yeah. I feel like your body is supposed to do things, so you should just let it do it.
But my body just attacking me every month also sucks.
That's real.
I mean, you ain't lying.
And then the reprieve of it is instead pushing out a 10-pound child.
8.
Good
6.
Lord. Why did you go to 10?
Mine was 7.
Well, that's what it can be. I don't know. Worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
That's not the worst case scenario.
And that first period after childbirth is
the worst
shit of life.
It is
the worst experience you'll ever have in your
from
life.
one mom to another. Using the bathroom after having a kid is like
I had a C-section, so I was cool. But 3 weeks after having her, I had to have an emergency appendectomy.
Oh my gosh.
And that was way worse than the C-section was. I was up after the C-section, showering, running around. That appendectomy, I was like, okay, so I'm dead, right? This is what death feels like.
Yeah.
I could not move for like days. It was horrible.
What if after you give birth, you just tell them to put the IUD right in there afterwards?
You have to wait.
They won't do it, yeah. You gotta wait.
Thought that was
so can you
have your period first?
Yeah, you have to wait. They also won't let you go home to use the bathroom either. And I'm just like,
yeah, you gotta.
Do you know what it feels like down there?
Okay, I'm terrified again. This tangent really tangented and scarred me. Let's just move along.
But kids are a beautiful thing. It's an amazing miracle from the Lord.
I mean, they're all right. Let's not go too much on them.
Kids are great.
I believe my other friend called it ghetto today. So hearing mixed messages.
Kids are great.
Because that's what it is. It's a mixed experience. No, they are great. You should have them if you want to.
Yeah,
if you're going to take care of them, have them.
Yeah, they're great.
I'll take this conversation offline.
Yeah.
If you're healthy and healed enough to have a child, then you should do that.
Just know that
Come on, say that again for the people who are listening.
Very ghetto.
Just saying, if you're healthy and healed, then you should have a child. And you want to take care of them. Then have
How do you know that you want to take care of them?
You don't until you're after there. You're like,
well, I think you'll know if you don't want to, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, so people always told me before I had a kid, 'cause I travel a lot. You're not going to travel anymore. Life's going to be over when you have a kid. And you see, I take Silver with me wherever I go. We travel together all the time.
Yeah.
But
I'll leave my kid home in a minute.
Yeah, I will too. Oh, I'm happily like, Grandma,
same.
alley-oop with the kid, and then I go.
Not you, Issa.
No, for sure. But I think that I think you'll know better that you don't want to.
Yeah, I agree.
No, but what is that like?
Possibility of so think about this. What if your child was severely disabled and had special needs? would you want to deal with that? And would you be able to emotionally, financially, and physically care for a child that needs you 24/7? If you don't want that possibility, then you probably shouldn't have a child, because that is a possibility.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think you can like start there and like
Just,
work
like,
backwards,
unsure.
right? Of like,
It's a lot. Having kids is a lot.
Okay.
or it's like, or if you feel like if your child is not this heterosexual Christian educated person,
I definitely don't have that.
If the child is not that, then you shouldn't have a child.
Yeah, for me, it's like I don't have any point of comparison for a thing that depends on me every day, regardless of whether I'm up for it or not. And that's the part that concerns me. It's like less the like being able to travel and stuff. Like, I know I'll be able to figure that stuff out. It's like the really like being the.
Well, I think
being on.
I think that's a part of it, but it's not the totality of parenting. Because I think that my philosophy in parenting is that you raise your child to leave you one day, right? So they depend on you until they're able to care for themselves, and you have to be able to give them the space to figure that out, even when they're at toddler age or infancy or adolescence, whatever it is. Some people feel like I have a child because I need to take care of this person forever and I'm going to be there with them forever. And yes, you'll be in their life, but I think that we have to also realize our kids are their own people and their own entities and not us.
Yeah.
Reborn.
No, for me, it's the opposite. It's like the fear of you having to be like 7 before, like 7 straight years of me having to do everything for you until you can kind of start to do it for yourself.
There are days when I felt like as a mom, like, what the hell? Why did I do this?
Yeah.
Who let me do this to myself?
Yeah, who let me bring this kid home?
The moment passes and you're like, all right, that was fine. It's okay.
Okay.
It gets easier.
Yeah, I know it comes in phases too. And not all of it's like bad. Like this is just
bad
me.
Can be pretty bad.
This is just me not having a pet, like have living, like I don't have siblings. You know what I mean? Like it's like really hard for me to like wrap my mind around like what that day to day is like.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah, it's great. It's ghetto and it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
That's
exactly
fun.
it.
All right.
That's exactly it. Parenting. Great ghetto fun.
I feel like learning their little personality and all that will like be like the shining light, or like seeing them learn new things.
Or seeing
like
yourself through them. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that
wow.
No,
I need to self-reflect.
You need to go away so I can look at myself.
I need to call my parents and apologize.
Yes.
That's what I need to do.
But I will say that there are moments with your kids where they'll say or do something where you feel like your heart's going to explode into 1,000 pieces and you just want to sob and cry. It's so beautiful and magical and spontaneous and just like, who is this little person? What the hell are you talking about? And it just feels like, this is why I did this. Okay, cool.
My son yesterday, he went with his dad and he was just like, Mommy, I don't want to go because I don't want you to be alone. I want you to come with me so we can be together.
Why are y'all trying to make me cry today?
I was just like, you are so sweet, but I will be fine.
Right? Like, you need to be all right.
I love you to pieces.
I love you so much, but your dad's here. So I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I love you. You are so sweet for thinking about me, but I will be okay, baby. But it was so sweet.
That is sweet.
So sweet. It was so sweet.
It is.
All right.
Well, it's time for
Coley's Corner.
Yeah, see, it's like spunky, right?
When you weren't here, it was rough.
Was it? Okay. How rough was it?
Watch the episode.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far.
Still catching up on your chat.
Well, I'm not gonna catch up on that. I just scrolled to the bottom. So forget about it. Forget about it.
If it's important, they'll tell me.
Right. That's exactly how I felt about it.
Fact.
Well, today's Coley's Corner question comes from 6 brown chicks that obviously I love to follow because, you know.
They have the messiest questions.
Yes.
I wonder if they're real.
They really do.
I have a feeling that they are real. And that's why they're so messy.
That's more
terrifying. I think some of
them
them aren't. Some of them are just like, there's no way.
There's no way. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see.
It's good not to know the difference, I think.
We're going to see. Let's tune into this question. Okay. I'm a home health nurse. This is my first time dating an antique man.
Antique?
Okay. In parentheses, it says he's 76 and I'm 34. He was my patient. I'm a very thick woman, so I don't want to break his bones. I'm attentive and gentle in bed. I worked hard to gain his trust. I pretend to like to give him sponge baths. I pretend to like to cook for him. I convince him that he doesn't disgust me. I wanted to live in his comfortable home and get his money. I was respectful. I always did my dirt with others after I've put him to sleep. What?
Oh,
His hearing is bad, so he talks loudly, and I heard him talking to another woman. I thought I was his main. First of all, how did you go from the health nurse to his main chick? I confronted him. He said my sex game was weak. He said he could get a better lay at a nursing home.
Oh my God.
I wanted to prove myself, but he said he'd rather do it himself than waste his last precious days alive being unsatisfied.
That's what she gets.
That's exactly what she gets.
That's exactly what she
told
gets.
my agency to fire me because she can't fuck right. Send somebody.
You told the agency her
send
job?
somebody
Because she's
better.
still his health aide while she's doing this.
I told my boss he was delusional, but I was fired anyway. I lost my job, but the hurtful thing he said about my sex really messed up my ego. I asked another lover if I'm good in bed, and my ex said, "You're not the worst I've ever had, but I can do without it. How do I improve?"
I can do without it. As simple as men are, I can do without it. What is she doing?
Also, he's in a home, so it's like it's not even like his like options are like maybe they are
he
readily
said
available.
Right.
did.
He turned the tables on her.
He
He's
got
like,
options.
But also
Get outta here.
imagine the senior citizen woman sex is better than yours, and you got Megan knees.
Okay, but I'm imagining Granny dropping it to the splits on the dick. Now.
Obviously,
It's got to be.
she might just be popping, and that's enough for
That's
dude. Maybe she's trying to do too much.
She's putting that pamper to the side and getting
Well,
it.
she said she was a
Pampers
thick
to the
woman and she
side.
was trying.
I'm at that stage. I
My
can do the
ego,
same
the
thing
way I would have
because-
been like, I gotta hang it up.
So the question on the table is, how does she
Your coochie?
improve?
Yeah, I gotta hang up my coochie.
How do you improve?
Yeah, I
If
would
the
too.
senior
I would
citizen
hang
is
it
telling me
up.
my sex is
I would
whack,
hang it
Okay, I
up.
agree. But wait,
I would hang it up.
we gotta
I would
let-
hang it up.
So
too.
Ray said,
Cole
hang
and
it up.
Nicole.
I would
No,
hang
but
it
what
up.
is your advice?
My
How do you
advice-
improve?
go to the nunnery.
I mean, how do you improve?
Be a nun.
No, I think that you can improve. I mean, sometimes you got it. Like
She don't
She
got
don't.
it.
maybe she
You know
don't. So
what,
then watch
though?
a video and maybe you can
Yeah.
learn something.
Okay.
But maybe he can give her some constructive feedback,
That's
right? Like
what I was
maybe
about
he
to
can
say.
help her figure out, like, and the ex
The
she
nigga who
called,
called
like,
her
okay,
job?
Well, okay, so what got
Well,
me
I
was the
mean,
fact.
hey, at least he's willing to give her the real of like, girl, this ain't it.
But you
Yeah.
know
No
what?
one's
That's
told her
true.
that to this
Because sex,
point. No one's
good
told her.
sex is subjective.
It
It's
Yes.
on your partner.
But she batting
It
0 for
is.
2 based on the feedback we've heard.
Yeah, she
And
is.
I feel like it's harder for women to be bad at sex than for men to be bad at sex.
Mm.
I feel like. Because I think, like,
agree.
You can be a
Because-
pillow princess.
I don't know about that.
For
But
most
even
of it,
that
like,
doesn't mean it's bad.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you just lay there and do nothing. Like, how?
But I
much
feel like
worse
that's
is that?
probably the issue is some people are like, you're not going to just lay there and do nothing. You
Don't
have to
back
be
do
a
something.
participant in this
An
activity.
active participant.
But it sounds like she thinks that she's doing her big one, and
Right,
she's really
she's
not.
putting in
Maybe
work.
she's doing too much.
No, she said she
And
didn't want to break his
uncoordinated
bones.
with,
She
like,
was like,
She said she's a thick woman and she didn't want to hurt him.
So maybe she's
said
not
her.
doing her.
So
Maybe
maybe
she
she-
didn't pull out her bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe she
something.
needs to up the
Yeah.
ante.
And let him tell her when it's hurting him. Don't
Yeah,
decide
kill
that
him
for
first and then deal with the
He might
repercussions.
can't feel his legs. Might be like, it's
Okay,
fine, go ahead.
She probably wasn't being tentative with her ex, so there's a common thread here among
Exactly. Her
different
ex
forms
is
of
not
sex.
a geriatric
Right.
She's not
man.
listening to her partner.
that part.
Maybe
Yeah.
she doesn't ask for feedback after his sex.
Well,
After,
she might
during,
feel like,
let's talk about
yeah,
during.
can we like
during.
talk through this?
Yeah, did you
Yeah.
like that? Do you like it when I blah blah blah?
again,
That would be my
communication.
advice.
Or what do you want?
But I also think that if the ex had sex with her more than one time, she might feel like it has to be good enough for him because we're still doing it. He didn't tell me, no, I don't want to sex
I
with you.
mean,
Maybe he's trying to be
Apparently,
polite.
Kelly's Corner a couple episodes ago, they tried a couple of times and it was fine for him, not fine for her. So
You
Yeah,
have to
speak up.
communication is key
it
here.
is. It
That's the
is.
problem.
Honest communication is key.
Yeah,
that's
the key
open
word,
communication
honest.
is key.
Honest communication is
And-
key. Ask your partner
Timely
what they
communication
want,
is key,
what they
too.
need from the situation, and
Yeah.
try to acquiesce. And if at first you don't succeed, try to-
Also, but nigga, you in a home, you're not gonna come for me.
You disrespect me?
Yeah, how dare you
Not you
disrespect
say you gonna
me?
diarrhea mad
But
black
he
woman
did.
him.
He
You gonna
did.
throw him in a tub and
But
leave
also,
him there?
what was her end game? She was hoping that he would like leave
Christina.
leave his
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
she said she wanted to
Christina-
live in his comfortable
Christina's
home and get his
not
money.
Oh, so he was like, no, you're not even like you can't even do. Wow.
Bare minimum.
No, he's not gonna leave her anything. She didn't let
Nothing.
him get off. What am I leaving you? Nothing.
First of all, the fact that you're on the job
Right.
giving these happy endings is what it sounds like.
Imagine the man being like, she's
and
happy,
you mad
right?
that you lost your job. Like, lady, that's not in that contract. I've seen what these contracts look like, and it don't say that you have to break them off.
Well, he wasn't turning it down.
So if you need to get your little trolley or whatever car you have, your little handicap bus, and go pick up somebody from just dropped off your piece for the day, and then maybe that's how you aid him. But you don't aid him yourself. Don't sacrifice your bag. First of all, let's get to the root of it. Don't sacrifice your bag.
Wait, you trying to turn her from an escort to a pimp? That can't be the advice for leaving sis.
Well, I think she thought that this was going to be a come up, that she was going to be able to just like quit her job and have him take care of her until he died, left her all of his money. Doesn't even have money, number one. Number two.
Have you seen the big statement?
Like, have you seen it? Maybe she knows it because she has access to his records in the home or whatever the case is. But she fumbled the bag. She's terrible in bed. And now she has no job. So where do you go?
Yes, across the board.
Let this man, you thought it was a come up and you let this man come in and ruin your life.
Yeah, she's toxic.
I would go back though to ask him for more details. I'd want to know. I want some more feedback.
Him? Ask the ex.
But no, because the ex is lying to you. The ex took all the time to tell you the truth. Had to come and ask you. He's like, listen, bitch, you suck. So tell me more, because he's going to be open about this.
I agree.
He's going to keep it real with her.
Because if you would have bagged the next old man's about to die, you need to know what to do.
Well,
no, but
nobody's going to hire her in that space anymore because of how she was fired.
But she didn't.
Just don't put it on your resume.
But I don't think that the lesson is to learn what he wants if he's not going to have sex with her anymore. The lesson is to learn how to communicate with your sexual partner so that you find out what their needs are.
Right,
so you know how to meet
your current sexual partner.
But he's not current. He's past.
Well, maybe she's selfish because she doesn't ask them if they're satisfied. Like, they finish.
She assumed.
Yeah.
She got the sauce.
She got an ego. That's the problem.
She got herself all over. Like, oh, that was good.
My God.
I mean,
can we move on?
The old man Larry shut her down.
He did.
Daggone, when the 76-year-old shut you down and tell you you're trash.
Man,
humbling.
I hate this for you, sis.
Beyond humbling.
City Girl's down again.
By 10 million.
Again, City Girl's been down all episode.
Damn.
Yeah,
you weren't toxic enough.
Sorry, sis, that you're experiencing this
I like how you said sorry
dry spell, if you will.
For the last 5 minutes. Just dragged her. Like, oh, I'm so sorry for your
sorry for your loss.
Your many L's. Sorry for your many L's.
I hope that you got what you needed, or maybe not.
She did not. She got nothing she needed. No.
She lost her needs.
She did.
Oh,
everything.
From us, you mean? Oh, from us. Yeah,
we hope you get another job.
Start there. That's my advice.
Ain't got no references.
And maybe don't ish where you eat.
Yeah.
Maybe try and F an old man that you aren't servicing through your employer.
Yes.
Right.
I would also want to know, like, was the sex good for her? Because maybe she's not aware of like her body, even like what she needs and likes and wants.
It didn't even sound like that was even on the table. It was just like
it doesn't matter.
Which is the awareness of sex being good. That's definitely the first.
Especially because if she was having sex with other people after hours, it seemed like she was trying to get her needs met elsewhere.
Yeah, imagine.
So yeah, maybe that's what you clap back with Larry with. Well, nigga, your dick ain't.
Like, yeah, well, at least Bertha likes it. Like, what you want to say now?
Yeah, Gerald in 2B.
Okay.
Likes to not throw it back.
Y'all
Gerald's lying. He told me he's lying.
Gerald sent me a Cash App yesterday. What you doing?
Sick.
Not fucking you anymore.
Right. I don't even need you, Larry.
Okay, close us out, Nicole.
Please. Okay, so, well, if you have any questions, please don't forget to submit them. You can either DM us, respectfully, of course, at What Keeps Us, or you can email us at wkutogether@gmail.com.
That's right.
Hey.
And now it's time for, you are getting good. It's time for Meme of the Week. Okay, so this one comes from the Melanated Shades room. And it goes, so Nene says, y'all ever been to a Black-owned water park? And someone says, I happen to be in possession of one. It says, young lady.
Okay, now that you read that, when I saw that meme yesterday, I was like, I don't get it.
I haven't even in possession of one. That's Tyler. We didn't know about Tyler water either. It's all the same thing. Make me harder.
Make me lose my.
Oh, now you get it. Make me water. All right. Make me water. Okay.
That's what Larry was trying to say.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, girl.
That's what Larry was advocating for.
Right.
That's what I said. I'm sorry for your dry spell. but
All right, time. Let's just wrap this up. It's time for aftershade.
Aftershade. Who wants to go first?
Oh Lord, I'll go first. I affirm for our listeners today, to choose you. Choose yourself. Sometimes you have to do that in order for anybody to choose you. If you are not happy, healthy, and whole, then if you wouldn't marry you, why would anybody else?
Well,
so I'll leave you with that.
Sheesh.
Not having a therapist cracking up.
Like, if you know you're trifling and raggedy, don't see you as that.
Do people know, though? Is the self-awareness a point when people are raggedy?
I mean,
there's no self-awareness.
That's the trouble.
I'm just saying, choose you
It's
first.
the root of all issues. There's no self-awareness whatsoever.
Dang.
That's so funny.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
You?
No, I'm not ready.
I don't know if I'm ready either.
Racine, you got one?
Sure. I will say that therapy can help everybody. Therapy it can possibly, right? It's not always the answer. It's there. There are ways to access therapy. But if you come to therapy and don't like what was said, that's more about you than it is about the therapist.
Clap back.
Just saying.
Like, that was good aftershade, too. I like that.
I'll go.
I got follow-up questions. Oh, sorry.
Do you want to ask them?
Is this the right time? What's the delineation between not liking what was said and finding out if the therapist is right for you?
That's a very good question. So I think it's kind of like dating, right? That you should be having first sessions with several therapists until you feel that comfort and feel like this person won't judge you and that you're feeling safe enough to be raw and vulnerable and open with them. A lot of people go to therapy and feel like, I don't know what to expect. So this must be right. And they stay there forever knowing that it's not working and they're unhappy. So don't be afraid to dump your therapist. Shop around for sure. This is your therapy. It's your process. So you should be as comfortable and safe and happy as you can with a stranger who you're telling all your business to. But there are a lot of bad therapists out there. That's the reality of it, and they need to be reported on to the state boards and they need to be talked about publicly because it's not fair to be in someone's really intimate and vulnerable part of their life and exploiting that. So I'm sorry for all the bad therapists out there. I'm not one of them.
That's right.
I know several others who are not, but you only find that by shopping around. I'm not a therapist to everybody out there either, right? And I'm okay with that. I don't need to be. I don't want to be everybody's therapist. And so it has to click in both directions. Therapists should be open enough to say, I got to see if this is working for me too. If it's not working for me, here are other people you can call and try different referrals. If they don't give you referrals, if they're not like consistent with you, I know some therapists have people like left on red or miss appointments, still calling them back. That's not, no, you wouldn't take that from your man. Maybe some of you would, but that's another time.
That's why you're in therapy.
Yes. So then don't take it from your therapist. Your therapist cannot half step. That's not allowed. They need to be on point. Or to say, right now it's not a good time for me. I'm not taking any clients right now. Try back in another few months, whatever it is. But it's not appropriate to take less from your therapist than you would from the ashy man sitting next to you.
Okay. So not the ashy man. So to that point, if the therapist does something that you don't like and it's not necessarily a reflection on you, it's only a reflection on you if it's a therapist that you have connected with and vibe with, and then in like a specific place of feedback, you're feeling rebuffed.
Yeah, like, is it challenging you or is it offending you because it's not appropriate, right? Are you offended because you're triggered as hell? You're like, oh shit, they just said this thing to me. I don't like it. But you also know in the back of your head that true, you're going to come back next week to find out why you tell me that. Why is that true for me? Then yeah, that's about you. But if it's like, oh, this bitch just lost her damn mind, leave that therapist alone and report her to the state board. Yeah.
Got it.
This is good. Should we keep going?
On what?
I don't know. That was great advice to end on.
You know what I got about.
Right.
Y'all don't have?
I do. I can say, I would say that just because you are not chosen by who you think you should be chosen by doesn't make you less than.
Yeah.
I think we put a lot of, just like you said on one of your TikToks, Racine, that we watched, like, you don't have to center another person to give you value. Like, you are valuable all in yourself and on your own. And someone else's wherefore to choose you or not choose you does not change or diminish that. So I would just say it's important to put yourself first and to really be comfortable with yourself before you even try or begin to bring someone else into that fold.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll go next. I'm going to piggyback off of what Carol said. Sorry. But it came to me that like in order to center yourself, you have to know yourself. And you have to know like what is for you and what's not for you. And I feel like sometimes in our singleness, people will be like, you have to love yourself and be whole with yourself before you can move on to a healthy relationship. And I don't know that that's always true. Okay, thank you. I don't think that that's true either, because you learn so much about yourself in relationships because you have a mirror or like a sounding board, or you're experiencing different aspects of life and you're learning what's for you and what's not. And even to a point that Saya made earlier, a lot of times you learn that an ideation that you had about certain things are actually not for you, or you actually don't like them in actuality. Yeah. So give yourself the space to learn and understand more about yourself. And then that will give you more discernment for being able to ascertain who is for you. And you're choosing that person every day. So it's not just something that's happening to you, or a decision that's happening upon you. Like, you have autonomy in all aspects of your life, including romantically. So that would be my aftershade for this week.
Oh, well, to piggyback on that, because that's exactly what I was going to go with. I think the root of choice is the fact that you have them, right? The ability to be able to say that there are opportunities before me and I'm going to step upon them, right? So be it what restaurant you're going to go to or who you're going to date, all of that is an aspect of our lives that I think a lot of times people want to take that autonomy away from us. And I want to affirm for our listeners today, everything you do, everything that you decide to do in your life is your choice, whatever that may be. Now, someone may meet you at your choice if you decide to have a relationship with someone, but that does not mean that that's the end of that choice either, right? It's as we spoke about earlier, it's a choice to be in that relationship if you decide to maintain it. It's a choice to even start one. It's a choice to even decide who, I think a lot of times we may get pigeonholed into only talking to one person in the very beginning. No, you have a choice to talk to multiple people, to figure that out, to determine what you like, what you do not like. I want to affirm for our listeners, everything is a choice. You are not stuck with whatever that choice is either. You can choose to leave a situation. You can choose to stay in that situation. So I want to affirm for you guys, the power of that choice is yours. So just keep doing the things that you know are necessary for you to be able to affirm for yourself who you are, but also that you maintain that freedom to be able to always choose. Because I think that a lot of times when we give away that freedom is when we start to feel like we don't have the autonomy to be able to move the ways in which we want to. And I'm affirming for everybody, we have that autonomy. Every day, every hour, you have the autonomy to be able to choose for yourself. So do the choice for yourself.
Amen.
I like that. Amen. Well, thank you, Racine, for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe you have to have a polyamory episode and have you back.
Please.
Ooh, yes.
Have somebody else who knows more about polyamory than I
do. If you know anyone that can come and talk to us about polyamory, swingers, ethical non-monogamy, I'm interested. I don't know if anyone else is, but I am.
Before we let you go, though, do you want to plug anything for yourself? Business, pages, whatever?
Oh, yeah. Of course. Thank you. So my business is Sankofa Marriage and Family Therapy. On Instagram, it's Sankofa Therapy NYC. I have a couples planner that you can purchase as a gift or you can use yourself. It's designed to have like one planner for each person, but you can also share a planner. It's up to you if you want them in your business or not. It's undated, so you can start the planner at any time of the year, and it comes with like stickers for the months and for different reminders. I also have a cookbook called A Palette for Love. Ooh. And I'm coming out with version 2, hopefully before the holidays. I'm not sure yet, but A Palette for Love is my cooking series. So I combine cooking with therapy when I work with couples. We use cooking and cultural foods to develop cultural intimacy and to make therapy a more Black space, honestly, and more culturally relevant to us. So using that time that we spend cooking and eating to have these constructive conversations and as a way to help therapy become a part of your everyday life.
So I love that. Are you ever in the DC area? I feel like we need to do like a live. We need you in studio to do one of these.
I do. Yeah. So I do events like where I'll have couples come and have these, do some of the cooking activities, and it's really, really fun. I do want to take it on the road. So DC is definitely a place I want to do it in. And I really want to host a singles speed dating event that involves cooking as well. And next year, Labor Day weekend, I'll be having a couples retreat in Belize. It's not a therapy retreat. It's a fun couples come in the sun, have fun, and spend time together in a beautiful place. We'll do like some fun like workshop stuff, but it's mainly about having fun for sure.
You have to be a couple.
You have to be with somebody.
All right.
So you can be just a partner. You can be a person that wants to go to Belize with you.
I got a person. But
that you guys share a room
too?
with.
Ooh, yes.
No, I love this.
love Belize.
Me too.
Well, we're real excited. Whenever you're in DC, please hit us up. We would love to have you in studio in person.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, friend.
All right.
Love you.
Till next-
Bye.
Peace.